Hello there. Welcome back to the Agostino Zinga Show with your host, Agostino Zinga, and this is episode number 927 of the Agostino Zinga Show, coming at you live and direct from the undisclosed location somewhere in East London. How you doing? How you feeling? How you doing? How you feeling? Great, amazing, good to hear, good to hear. How have I been? I've been better, I'm not gonna lie. I've been better, I'm not gonna lie. I'm just getting off of and recovering from a pretty mental weekend, where I indulged myself a little bit too much, had a little bit too much, I wouldn't say fun, but I had a little bit too much I had a little bit too much extracurricular activities that centered around adult multivitamins. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. I indulged myself a little bit too much. I went a little bit too mad, and it got me realizing some things. You know, I had the fucking Monday guilt. I had the Tuesday guilt. I had the Tuesday, post-sesh clarity suddenly came over me. And one thing that I realized when it happened on the Monday or the Tuesday was like, number one, I noticed a couple of things. I realized a couple of things. I came to the conclusion of a couple of things. Number one, I haven't earned a holiday. I haven't earned a vacation. I haven't earned a sesh in a long time. Number two clarification I came to. It's a big waste of time, isn't it? It's a big waste of time, and it obviously, number two, big waste of time, and slash, it doesn't actually help in the long term. It doesn't actually help in the long term. So, I've been going through some stuff, right? Some real stuff, personally, that I've been trying to cope with, that I've been trying to sort of like not think about, but then think about at the same time. But because I'm never probably going to submit myself to therapy and shit, which I probably desperately need, the only way to kind of solve the issue for now, as a grown-ass man, as a red-blooded male, as a very stubborn, hard-headed man, is to just keep myself busy. But what I can't keep myself busy with is the adult multivitamins. That's what I cannot do. That is never a good idea, never a good solution. Like, it can work. In the moment, it can sometimes work. In that split second, it can sometimes work. While you're racking up, while you're dividing, while you're fucking, you know what I mean, doing what needs to be done, it can work within those split seconds that it goes from you fucking racking up and whatnot and getting that shit shoveled up your nostrils. It can work in that one instance, but in the long term, it doesn't actually work. What actually works is maybe focusing on yourself, doing the inner work that needs to be done, making steps to change the situation that you're in, whatever way that needs to be done as well, if that's in your purview, and kind of going through there. But for me personally, again, this is a toxic way to speak about it, but I like to be completely honest when it comes to the internet sort of side of things, especially when it comes to this podcast, especially when it comes to this fucking stream, because why the fuck not? I don't know you motherfuckers. There's nobody reason to lie. So the only way I really deal with this sort of stuff is keep myself incredibly busy. And I think in the last few years, or in the last few years, let's say last few months. No, actually, let's be honest, let's say last few years, I don't necessarily think I've earned a vacation. And why I say that is because in the past, I'm sure some of you guys listen to the pod will know, I had this mantra that I kind of lived by, where I would kind of toil away Monday to Friday at work, Saturday, Sunday, DJing, whatever I was doing, right? I'll be toiling away week on week, grinding, and then there will come a point where I'd go and celebrate. I'd go and have a good time. I'd go and let my hair down to kind of give me that balance, because I'm a kind of person, I'm not sure if you guys are the same, but I can't lock in for like 6 months in the one block. I can lock in for 4 months and then have a good weekend and then get back in again, but I need to have that thing to look forward to the end of the road. I need to have that light at the end of the rainbow. I need to have that light at the end of the tunnel, sorry. So lock in for 4 months, have that fucking celebration at the end, and go from there. But one thing I've also realized about myself over the years is that celebration, like, I'm not, how some people are like, when they go on diets, they have like cheat days. I'm a cheat meal kind of guy, not a cheat day, So even if I do have let my hair down, relax, whatever session at the end of my lock-in, eventually over time, it'll get that let my hair down will become less and less. So now I'm looking forward to let my hair down of going maybe to Berlin and hanging out over there. over time, as I keep looking in, what will end up happening is that my let my hair down will turn into, let me go buy myself a drink in the shop. Let me go get a drink in a bar. I don't know. Let me go and sit down on my ass and watch some TV. You know, that will be what it is. But I kind of need to get back to it because I feel like in the recent years, anyway, I've just been indulging myself. Maybe indulging is not the right word. I've been trying to medicate or trying to solve the problem via that solution, which obviously isn't a greatest solution, but I've also been indulging myself in kind of going, you know, using that as a sort of like a bit of a crux to kind of tap out from regular scheduled programming and shit. And you know how it is sometimes when you're in a bit of a funk, when you're in a bit of a funk, like you just want days to fucking fast forward, you know? I'm sure some of you guys have been there, where you want the day to just fast forward. You want Friday to come, you want Monday to come, you just want to fast forward. And sometimes getting on the adult multivitamins, getting on the boost sometimes can help with that. It can sometimes speed the days forward. It can sometimes speed through the days. But then unfortunately, when you wake up in the morning, you still have yourself. That's the only issue. So you do fast forward through the day if you do indulge in the multivitamins, if you do indulge in the booze. But then tomorrow is just tomorrow still. You still have to kind of address and focus on those problems that you're focusing on, or focus on the problems that you're trying to avoid. And, you know, it's becoming harder and harder. But I found over the years for myself, the only way that I kind of deal with it in a somewhat manageable way is just to keep myself busy. And if I keep myself busy, it's going to be beneficial to me in my life because it's going to allow me to kind of get further forward in the things that I want to do. And then it's going to hopefully alleviate some of the fucking inner things I have going on in my head and shit. You would hope, fingers crossed. But the first thing I need to do, the first step is just earning my vacations. And again, it's just a mantra. It doesn't mean I have to go on vacation. It's just a saying. I need to earn my vacations because at the moment I'm not earning my vacations. I feel like I'm going away, I'm doing things, and I'm just doing them for the sake of doing them, going through the motions. But I haven't really earned it. And when I don't earn them, maybe it comes from my Christian background and shit. A lot of self-flagellation going on there. But when I don't earn them, I know deep down I didn't earn them. Like like for instance, like I could never cheat during a fucking, you know, a 5K or a 10K and shit or a half marathon. Because I know in myself that I cheated. So I'd never feel good. I'd never feel proud about showing off the medal or showing off of my achievements or whatever it may be. I would never be proud of doing it. So when it comes to going on breaks and not feeling like I'm earning them, I also don't enjoy them. So the last few ones I've been on, maybe that's probably the reason why I haven't really done many reviews of them and shit and giving you the lowdown on what happened, because I didn't really enjoy my time. I didn't really feel like I earned it, and it kind of went by in a blur, and I kind of wanted to get home as soon as possible. So nowadays, or going forward from now anyway, not nowadays, I am going to get back onto that way of doing things because I think that was where I was at my best. And yeah, little by little, day by day, it shall get better. It shall get better. But one thing you do realize at the end of the day, especially the older you get, you do realize at the end of the day, like, you know, although I'm in this position where, like, just as a general kind of topic, you sometimes feel as if like people kind of demand a lot out of you, but very rarely do people come up or people like show up for you. Now, don't get me wrong, like, I'm not a self-pity type of guy. I don't want anyone to fucking help me out with jack shit. I kind of keep myself to myself for a reason, because I don't like to be around people in general. But I do find it odd and interesting how I do go out of my way to kind of isolate myself from most people, most humans, but people still find a way to kind of get to me and to kind of, again, request, you know, just a lot of fucking taking out of me and not a lot of pouring back into me, which again is like a thing you realize when you get older. It's like, fuck, man, everyone's just like looking after their own self-interest, trying to navigate through life the best way that they can. That's how they're doing so. But I just could never be that person. And it can be a little bit annoying over time, not gonna lie. It can start grating you, can start getting on your nerves a little bit, like, fucking hell, mate. Like, you never once asked me how I am, innit? Not that I would ever tell you if I'm bad, but Jesus Christ, bro, it's like just a constant barrage of just like, you know, issues and problems and shit. And if you know me, you know that one thing I fucking hate is fucking people that just have loads of issues and problems but no real solutions. You know, just constant, or not even that. People that come to you for, if you're gonna whinge, just whinge, you know, into deep space, you know, just because you like to whinge and shit. Congratulations, good job, well done, keep going. But if you're gonna whinge to me, if you're going to complain to me, but then you're not going to give yourself any outs, you're not going to give yourself any options to solve that issue, you're not trying to fix it, you're not trying to remedy it, then you're going to lose my patience very, very quickly. Because I have my own shit I'm worrying about, you know, 24/7. And now here you are just worrying about shit, not wanting a solution, but just enjoying the conversation around worrying about shit. Like, nah. Not on my watch, motherfucker. Not on my watch, motherfucker. So it's been difficult, it's been hard, but little by little, we shall get there. Big up Young God Vibes. That's why I'm not a fan of locking in. I prefer just changing my habits completely. Yeah, but I think it's the same sort of thing for me, in my experience. It's the same sort of thing. Like I said previously, like, I'm not the 6 months locking guy, but I can be the 4-month locking guy. But then over time, I'll eventually get to that 6-month stage. So if you're saying change your habits completely, I agree. But for me, I will change my lifestyle. Like, for instance, like, imagine if I was going out every day in a week, I would then push it to the weekends. But then over time, because I'm seeing the improvements to my life of pushing stuff to the weekend, I might try 1 week where I don't go out on the weekend. Then that turns into 2 weeks. That turns into 3, it turns into 4. So I kind of need to do that for myself. I can't just go full in, you know, cold turkey. Okay, everything's getting locked off. It doesn't really work for me. I've tried it before, but it doesn't really work. It normally works where I can see the benefits of what it has done to me to kind of reduce whatever I'm not happy about, to reduce the level I do it at. And then over time, I will slowly increase the amount of times I'm doing the things I should be doing and decrease the amount of things I shouldn't be doing. And then over time, those habits will end up changing, you know, by default. That's kind of how I get to the stage I get to, where I'm kind of, you know, then a changed man going forward. I think, and again, it depends. It all depends what, like, I guess it goes back to the whole workout thing. There's people that would say, like, you know, a lot of personal trainers, life coach type of people that will say, and I agree with this, they would be like, if you're somebody that doesn't work out at all, you're better off like focusing on or trying to work out at least 10 to 20 minutes per day, every day, than you are trying to suddenly go from never working out to working out 3 times a week for an hour each time. It's not going to work. You're going to kill yourself after day 2. You're going to get fucking dead. You're going to be bored. But if you can do some form of movement, whether it be walking on a treadmill, elliptical machine, whatever it may be, just walking outside, and then do that for 10 to 20 minutes per day, every day for 7 days, that's when you'll notice real change, and your habits will end up changing a lot easier because of the low barrier of entry that you've made for yourself to kind of, you know, fix that habit, as opposed to going in all the way at the end. Okay, I'm going to stop. I'm going to do this for an hour. It's like, it's just, some people just need the minimum viable dosage to get the job done. And then from there, they can build up from there. And I'm one of those type of people. So that's something that I recognize in myself, and something that I'm kind of going to go and I'm going to do as I continue on my journey. Anyway, less of that, more of this. I just did a reaction actually to Tyler the Creator's new music video called Sugar on My Tongue. The reaction video should be uploaded on this channel very, very soon. I'm going to start doing more music video reactions a lot on here. Now that I've got this new M4 MacBook Air, I mentioned it again. I'm going to start doing a lot more of these videos because I like fucking music. I like music videos. I like tunes them. I like reacting to it. So why the fuck not? And one thing that really stuck out to me when I was doing this reaction to Tyler the Creator's new music video, Sugar on My Tongue, was this scene. Tyler the Creator's got this club scene that also reveals Tyler the Creator dressed up in the Gibson. Whoops! Let me take off the sound so it doesn't copyright strike me. Apologies to those of you who blew out your earphones. I apologize. But there's a scene in this music video where Tyler the Creator turns up in a gimp suit. Right? Look at that. Tyler the Creator wearing a gimp suit, a BDSM gimp suit, is fucking incredible. Incredible. And I say it's incredible because Tyler the Creator's done a really good job, especially for African American kids. I mentioned it in the music video. I mentioned it in my reaction. I think it's different for European blacks and shit, because I feel like maybe because we live in Europe, we get exposed to a lot more, I'd say, like, you know, niche subcultures and interest, and you don't get judged as much as you would in the States. Like, I think if you're in the States and you're a black kid and you skate, you're going to be looked at a lot differently if you skate and you're from Europe. Because depending on where you're from, is going to really dictate what sports you play if you're black in Europe. Like, if you're from a certain part of Europe where they maybe are more fans of rugby, you just end up playing rugby because all your friends happen to be white. But if you grew up in an area where everyone plays cricket, you just play cricket. So you just kind of, assimilate to the area that you're in. But I feel like for whatever reason, African American kids, especially, I feel like they have to live up to or follow in the footsteps of an image of what it means to be black. That's very rigid, you know. It's very rigid. You can't really operate outside the margins. If you do, you start getting called names. People start calling you gay, start calling you weird. It's really annoying. I'd imagine for an African American kids out there. But Tyler the Creator is a really good inspiration person to kind of look to, because he kind of dabbles in things that you would imagine the convention, or a lot of people wouldn't expect conventionally African American kids to be into. But he also exposes African American kids to interests that he might have seen when he's on his travels in Europe and stuff that they're probably not game or hip to. Because especially here in Europe, especially here in London specifically, the whole sex, kink, sex positive BDSM sort of shit has popped off massively. Like, I can't, like, the days of crossbreed, like RIP crossbreed was one of the biggest, like, on one of the most popular sex parties here in London for a long time, before the founder got accused of being a fucking creep. Again, really funny story about him and me bumping into him in fucking Berghain, and him trying to make out that I was a creep when in fact he was a fucking creep, and his whole party got fucking taken down. So that's fucking hilarious. But I hope he's okay. Hope he's on the mend now and getting his feet back up, and maybe getting back on the horse and starting another party, because we do need more of those than less. But Crossbreed was one of the most popular ones, and it was really, and maybe at that point Club Robertson was also existed, but they were seen as a little bit different. They were seen as a little bit weird, a little bit niche, a little bit, you know, whatever. But I feel like in the last few years, it's become a lot more accepted. It's become a lot more widespread. And I feel like there's way more options now. Every other day, I think I see on Instagram a lot of sex positive. And now they're starting to become very specific about who they try to appeal to. I've seen sex positive parties where they only really try to aim it towards flinter people. I've seen sex positive parties where they're only trying to aim it to certain races. Certain interests and shit. So we're getting into that place. Before it was just like an all-encompassing wide umbrella. Now we're getting into like the kind of, you know, the subcategories of this scene. But by and large, from what I've seen, again, I've never been to one, because I'm one of those type of people that like to separate my dance music and my sex and my dance music. But from the pictures that I've seen online, you don't really see a lot of black people at these events, right? You don't really see a lot of niggas at these events. I know they do exist and they go there, but you don't see a lot of them there. And I'm wondering now, going forward in America specifically, if a lot of kids who are maybe into this sort of stuff, into BDSM, into kink play, into all this stuff, sex positive movement, if they're going to see Tyler doing what he's doing now in this video, and they're going to be inspired by it to try it out for themselves, and to maybe go to a sex positive party sometime soon, kink rave sometime soon, and sort of submit to themselves to the dark room, submit to themselves to the debauchery that goes in there, and have one hell of a time. I also remember back in the day, I don't know if you guys remember, what event was that? What event was that? What, I forgot what that was. That Cyanoid? I'm not sure if it was a Cyanoid. I forgot what sex party it was. But you guys remember there was a one of these kink raves, and they had all the sets uploaded on Pornhub. I think Boiler Room might have helped them out do it. I think Boiler Room were in collaboration with them, and they uploaded the sets on Pornhub. I don't know if you guys remember, but that was ages ago. That was fucking funny. Actually, that girl Chippy Nonstop, actually, you know, she's not the greatest DJ in the world, but I do remember she was one of the first people that I saw who was a prominent DJ, but also had her OnlyFans. And if I'm not mistaken, her OnlyFans was essentially her DJing topless. You know, so if you're into, you know, her boobs and shit, you're into her, then I guess join her OnlyFans. Just speaking about that, actually, I'm actually surprised there's not a lot more DJs, especially female DJs, who are into the whole OnlyFans thing. I wonder why that is. Because I do see, I feel like every other day I'm seeing way more girls on my, maybe it's just my algorithm, because I like certain things, I don't know. But I feel like I'm seeing a lot more like random DJs who I don't know, who have amazing followings, super, you know, hundreds of thousands of followers on their Instagram. I feel like I'm seeing way more of them in their little tight little tops with no bras, bouncing up and down behind the booths, right? Which is great fucking engagement bait. Great engagement bait, great attempts to go viral of some girl with perky tits behind the booth, no bra on, DJing, right? It's always gonna fucking win. You're always gonna get amazing fucking views and clicks on that sort of shit, right? But I'm surprised that girls that are willing to do that sort of thing, who are willing to, you know, objectify themselves for the end goal of getting more bookings, because that's a really depressing side of things, right? The really depressing side of DJing is that every antic someone's doing, everything that looks really cringe, everything that's really lame, at the genesis, at the heart of it, the reason why they're doing it, because they want more bookings. It's because they want to get booked more often. It's because they want to play in the bigger clubs, better festivals and shit. They want to make more money, so they're willing to do whatever. They're willing to embarrass themselves on social media. They're willing to cringe themselves out just to ensure that they get way more bookings going forward. So it's a bit of a sad situation. But going back to Tyler Creator's video, Sugar on My Tongue, it was really cool to see him dressed up in this BDSM style. I'm hoping for the kids coming up, they're going to see this and they're going to be like, you know what? I also want to get into BDSM. I also want to get into kink play. I also want to maybe go to a club. I also want to go into a space where there's fucking glory holes and shit. I also want to be like Tyler Creator and wear like a fucking gimp suit. I think it's all fucking sick and absolutely amazing, especially when you consider just how rigid, frigid, scared, and kind of unimaginative, really, a lot of black people can be when this sort of thing. They get very, 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 very spooky when this sort of stuff comes up. So I love that Tyler Creator is giving some kids permission to indulge themselves and embrace their freak side and have some fun and go a little bit crazy. I'm not mad at it in the slightest. I'm not mad at it in the slightest. Big up fucking Tyler Creator. But one thing that was really surprising about this video, right, that made me laugh about it, was that, isn't it funny how quickly cultures change? Like, there was a time, right, where all this stuff was like seen as very weird, seen as somewhat a little bit, you know, whatever, tapped. But nowadays, I feel like this is like, you know, general shit. No one's really gonna bat an eyelid if you sat on the overground wearing a gimp suit. But I feel like if you did beforehand, you might have people moving away from you. But I feel like nowadays, not so much. So it's just funny how quickly, like, cultures stay, or, you know, our sensibilities remain the same for a while, then they change very quickly overnight. It becomes very sudden. One moment it was seen as like, you know, it was seen as, I wouldn't say avant-garde, but it was seen as very weird to be walking around the street with a fucking harness on, with a choker on, with your nails painted as a man. But all of a sudden, everyone's doing it. Everyone's dangling earrings. Everyone wears harnesses and PVC and leather and shit. And all of a sudden now, everyone's getting pissed on, you know? So that guy in Berghain, actually, that guy in Berghain who pisses on everybody in the toilets, he's probably not as freaky as he once seemed in the past. He's probably not as freaky as he once seemed in the past. Big up that guy in Berghain who pisses on absolutely everybody. By the way, he ain't pissed on me just yet, though. He ain't pissed on me just yet. I'm fucking pissed about that. He ain't pissed on me just yet. He ain't pissed on me just yet. Talking about piss. Talking about being pissed. Ragwan. Edison Chen. Edison Chen has been sued by Nike. Edison Chen's been sued by Nike. Pretty crazy development came out of the blue. Now, I first saw this on my timeline, courtesy of, I think that Sneaker Legal account. And essentially the first bit I saw, courtesy of Sneaker Legal and others, was this headline. Courtesy of Modern Notoriety 2, where it says, Nike has filed a $126.6 million lawsuit against Klotz Edison Chen for an alleged breach of contract. Now, 126 million is very different than 126,000, which is what WWD magazine are saying it is. So I'm going to show you to believe. Do we believe WWE magazine that said they filed a class action lawsuit to collect 126,000 from Edison Chen? Or did we believe Sneaker Legal and Modern Notoriety, who say the amount is actually $126 million? I don't know what it is. Wherever it is, it's an interesting development. More so because Klot and Nike have had a long history. They've created many great shoes, legendary shoes. One I can think of off the top of my head might be, is it the Year of the Snake, Year of the Dog, Chinese New Year, fucking Air Force One, the red one? One of my favorites of all time. I think their last Nike collaboration before they moved to Adidas was a really good one too. It was these dunks. They had all these different types of materials and a different type on each panel. I think there were also a non-SB too, which I also preferred, and they came out really great. And I thought their move away from Nike came out the blue. Not sure why that was the case. I have read on interviews with other brand people and owners and stuff that allegedly Nike are really shit when it comes to like giving people points or ownership and shit. So Nike allegedly maybe pays you an upfront fee, but they don't ever give you points on the sales of the shoe. There's no long-term plan to have you involved in Nike designing things or have your own line. It's just you get the collection, you get paid by each fucking collaboration, and that's it, and you keep it moving. And I guess some of these guys, some of these creators, some of these brand owners, they want more. Because, you know, like myself and others out there, they probably grew up on Nike and they want to play a bigger part in Nike's future and actually be able to, you know, have their own line and shit, or have some ownership, especially some of Edison Chen. I'm not too sure if Edison Chen's married or got children and shit, but I'd imagine that probably changes your worldview. Suddenly you're married and you got children, and you know, like you want, you know, you want to lead them something that they can kind of hold as well. So you don't want to just be designing shoes and getting money. You want to have, you want them to have something they can kind of hold that'll kind of set them up for the future and for you know, for main generations to come. So that might have changed his perspective on it, or just frankly, Adidas might have just been able to offer him the stuff that he wasn't getting at Nike. I don't know, but I was very surprised that Clot decided to end their partnership with Nike, and it did feel like Clot decided to walk away from Nike as opposed to Nike walking away from Clot, because Clot essentially has China in their hands, right? Again, I'm not super exposed to Chinese streetwear, but I can assume that Clot still probably run things over there. They're probably still the big dogs. Sorry, I got some water there. They're probably still the big dogs out there. And China's probably a region that Nike want to have a handle on as well. The money there is just ungodly. The amount of money and fucking reach they can get from there. So having Edison Chen walk away from Nike and join Adidas, that was a big blow to Nike. Don't get me wrong, I don't think Clot fans who are fans, I don't think the Clot fans who like their collaboration with Nike are going to suddenly jump over to Adidas because they're with Adidas, because Adidas is like, you have to kind of be into that sort of shit. Like me personally, I am, because as cringy as this sounds, I like to refer to myself as like a proper sneakerhead. As in, like, I don't just chase after like limited edition stuff, tier 0 stuff. I'm not only wearing retros. I'm not only wearing, especially not Jordan retros and shit. I like to. I'm in it for the sneakers. So I'm the kind of guy that likes to go to TK Maxx, find fucking, you know, B samples, find shoes that people aren't necessarily wearing, wear them in a certain way, and you know, and help them become more popular again. Maybe pull out a colorway of a shoe that no one kind of thought about that was great, that came out before, and give it a new lease of life, or just really be into any sneaker brand or any footwear brand, sportswear brand that do interesting things. But I feel like there are some people out there who are very wedded, very brand loyal, very hype beast, centered, you know, whatever it may be. So if it's Nike, if it's limited edition, if it's covered in sparkles, different colored panels and shit, has some fancy box, they're gonna queue up, they're gonna buy it. But ultimately, the reason why they're buying it is because it's Nike. So those guys just will never buy Adidas, no matter what Adidas makes, however limited it is, whoever they collaborate. There are just some kids out there who just care way more about Nike than they do about Adidas. So I'm sure, as much as Nike hurt from this split, I'm sure Clot also hurt from this split, because they probably don't have the same customer base they once had at Nike, because some people would rather stay loyal to Nike than stay loyal to Clot. You'd imagine. But hey, what do I know? Let's read the article anyway. It goes to WWE magazine that gives us more idea on what the breach of contract is. I'd love to hear what it's all about, to be fair. I'd assume it has to do with them walking away from Nike in general. So WWE says the follows. It said, oh, sorry. The lawsuit revealed a clerical error by the courts when displaying the demand amount. Okay, cool. So this earlier amount that we saw spread on social media was a mistake. Nike aren't suing Clot for 126 million. They're actually suing him for 126,000. Okay, cool. That makes it a little bit easier to digest. Let's go back to the article. The lawsuit was filed on Monday in a federal district court in Los Angeles. Also named as a defendant was Juice Los Angeles LLC, a company owned by Chen. Nike filed the action to collect $126,615 dollars and 58 cents owed by Juice on the goods or sportswear brand provided by Chen's company. Chen was named because of the personal guarantor on Juice's account with Nike. Chen's resident of Los Angeles, where his firm Juice is also based. Executives at Nike could not be reached for comment on the offices closed for Wellness Week. Wellness Week? Fucking hell, bro. Working at Nike must be fun, innit? You have a Wellness Week, you know? Actually, there was the previous company I last worked at, they had this really lame gay thing where they let people have like personal days off. Have you guys heard about that? It's something I've only recently heard about. Like, honestly, man, this new generation of people working now, that they have things sweet. There was no such thing as we'd never had that such a situation at work. But essentially, you get like a personal day where you basically get to, like, if you're feeling a little bit flustered and whatever it may be, you get to take off a day for your own personal well-being. I guess it's similar to wellness. It's kind of like a mental health day, and you just announce it in Slack, hey guys, I'm doing mental health day, I'll see you back on Friday, whatever. And it's like, huh? You don't have to explain it, you don't have to fucking give reason for it, you can just take it whenever you want. Like, that was never a reality for me when I was working. Never a reality when I first got my first job. There wasn't such thing. You just had to fucking bulldoze your way through whatever issue that you had and just hope for the best on the other side. But a mental health day, like what? That would never fucking happen. So big up the people out there now enjoying that sort of thing, and big up people at Nike having a wellness week, which is fucking insane. And again, I'd imagine that probably doesn't count for their vacation, right? Just a separate thing overall. Jesus Christ. Representative for Chen did not respond to requests for comment by the press. Chen has long history with Nike, but it was learned during Shanghai Fashion Week in October 2023 that Chen was shifting course, and will be partnered with Nike competitor Adidas. Adidas and Chen disclosed their partnership at Clot Spring 2024 show, noting that the inaugural collection for the line would be known as Adidas Originals by Edison Chen. Close partnership with Nike ran for 20 years. The first collaborative sneaker launched in 2006. The two have been steady partners since then until they weren't. Little is known about why the two ended their partnership, although market rumblings at the time suggested that the deal had run its course and set to expire anyway. Like again, from what I've read online, Nike don't sort out their creative, don't sort out their fucking family. They tend to fuck them over, tend to do them kind of dirty. And I'm assuming they do it on purpose because they know that they can kind of bend you over backwards if you're a brander. They know that you love them more than they love you. And they also know, let's be honest, as great as Clot is, they also know that the next Clot competitor or killer is only a couple bedroom sketches away. A couple Photoshop files away. Do you know what I mean? They know it. So I guess that's also part of the reason why Nike don't bend over backwards, because they know the universe will fucking bestow upon them the next Virgil at some point soon. They fucking know it. Let's continue. Clot, based in Hong Kong, became one of Nike's most important partners in Asia. Their collaborations included narratives that served to educate the West on Chinese customers, such as tea ceremonies and reflexology. Among the highs were the Air Max 1 Kiss of Death, which became one of the most sought after sought after versions of the Silver Elephant. Yes, I remember that. It was released in 2006 for $100. Its list price was $1,200 on the sneaker resale site StockX, although data going back to 2017 indicates a range from $230 to the high 2000s, depending on the condition and scarcity of the size range. Also popular has been the Nike Air Force 1 tearaway uppers. Clot also had a new Nike Cortez collab, Nike Cortez featuring Clot Cortez featuring a yellow-based upper offset with black mudguard inspired by the jumpsuit worn by martial arts artist Bruce Lee. Clot also joined forces with Nike Jordan brand for several collaborations over the years. Clot partnership with Adidas this year thus far has 3 launches. Adidas Gazelle line has been second drop for March, featuring a crepe sole constructions. An additional Clot Adidas dropped last year in June. Collaboration included Edison Stan Smith. Now, from what I've seen with Adidas Clot collection, it's not that great. Not gonna lie, it's not that great. I don't personally like it. I think he did far better stuff at fucking Nike, but it also feels like he made this turn because he's growing up. You know, basically he's growing up, and maybe he's not into wearing some of those Kiss of Death shit he does with Nike anymore. He wants to wear more quote unquote grown up comfortable shoes, which is why he's making Stan Smith with a fucking crepe sole and shit. That's what he actually wants to wear day to day. Only problem I have with that is that I'm not really the biggest fan of brand owners who kind of are like, oh, it's not for me, it's not for me. It's like, yeah, but if it's not for you, then why are you here? Do you know what I mean? It's okay being not for you, but you don't need to be here and it not be for you. Or you don't need to change the company not be for you. Like, you could have just kept, the Nike thing going and just not been a part of the design process and just did your own thing. But maybe, what can you do with that sort of shit? Maybe he wants to be the main player all fucking times. Who freaking knows? Well, Edison Chen did reply. Edison Chen did respond via his Instagram. He posted a picture of himself wearing the Clot Adidas Stan Smiths that were mentioned in the article. As you can see here, it has the Clot logo on the back heel tab, which is a pretty cool little touch here. Clot logo on one heel tab, Adidas, tray foil fucking logo on the back there. And then on the caption, Edison Chen said, word, exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation mark, question mark. That has been Edison Chen's response. So I'm sure this is a far better pill to swallow because it's 126,000, not 126 million. But regardless, getting sued by a fucking Young Thug at any time of day is a fucking L. I am not gonna lie, I really am not. So big up Frank for big up him for fucking winning this, honestly. What a legend. But I'm curious to see how this plays out. Curious to see what the actual details of the lawsuit are, what Nike are actually suing him for. Is it because he stepped away from the clock deal before it officially ended? Are they trying to sue him because they sent him a bunch of stuff that he didn't send back? I'm curious to see what the reason is behind it, because it feels very bitter. It feels very stupid that these guys are arguing in the first place. So hopefully they get it sorted out. Hopefully they get it sorted out. Hey, yo, big up Denim Tears. Big up Denim Tears. You guys on the stream, you guys on the podcast know how much I'm a big fan of Denim Tears. Know how much I'm a big fan of Tremaine Emory. Although he's had a bit of a rocky tenure at the head of his own brand, I feel like over the last 18 months or so, things have definitely been on the up and up for Denim Tears. And I would imagine, because Tremaine doesn't seem like a dumb guy, although he, you know, has some questionable moments during the whole get sacked by Supreme thing and saying that they're fucking introduced racist and all that malarkey. Even though he had a bit of a rough situation with that sort of stuff, which looking back you can kind of understand now, because you'd imagine, like a lot of us in streetwear, myself included, being a creative director of Supreme would be a dream job for any of us here, myself included. But I guess sometimes when your dream job becomes hell on earth, it can be a bit of a mind fuck. So it we probably maybe should have given him more grace for the way that he kind of responded and acted toward the allegations surrounding himself and his work career and whatnot, what he did doing wrong when he was at fucking Denim Tears and stuff. I think that would have been far more beneficial. But hey, we didn't extend that grace to him, unfortunately. We are who we are. Humans are fucking shit, myself included. But what I have noticed though, that the more Tremaine keeps quiet, the more Tremaine doesn't speak, the more Tremaine isn't doing interviews, the more Tremaine isn't sharing his opinions on race and shit, the better received I think his brand is. But unfortunately for Denim Tears, his brand is intrinsically tied to, you know, that's the issue. So yes, what they're saying is true. You know, hey, you know, not that great of a guy, blah, 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 blah. But let's be real also, like, you know, what can you do when it comes to that sort of stuff? Like, you need to kind of understand, like, I wonder if he understands it. I wonder if Tremaine understands how different his brand has been received now that he's, because it feels intentional, taking a step back from the media, taking a step back from press, and just let his brand speak for itself. Because some of the collections I've seen online from Denim Tears have been fire. The activations or the brand events, you know, the Pusha T or the clips thing that happened recently as well at their store was fucking sick. And now they've got this really cool article courtesy of Business of Fashion where they sort of dig deep into Denim Tears' business, and we find out some really tasty numbers that Denim Tears are doing, all courtesy of this article from Business of Fashion that says, exclusive, Denim Tears is leveling up. With tens of millions in annual sales, Tremaine Emory buzzed about New York label is in expansion mode. So big up Tremaine Emory, walked away from a pretty lucrative job at Supreme, and now his own brand, Denim Tears, is leveling up in a big, 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 big way. Let's go. So it says the follows. New York-based streetwear label Denim Tears has an unofficial logo. It's Cotton Reef. The circle white balls can be seen splashed across sweats and Levi jeans worn by the kids of New York City. It's been embraced by celebrities such as A$AP Rocky, bootleggers, resellers on StockX, and luxury brands such as Dior, Comme des Garçons, and for high fashion collaborations. Earlier this year, the brand released and sold out cashmere sweatsuits retailing for as much as $2,800 with cotton reefs and Swarovski crystals. That's fucking beautiful, by the way. Cashmere Denim Tears sweatsuits with fucking Swarovski crystal encrusted cotton reefs. That's some nigga shit, bro. That's some high class nigga shit. Let's continue. The emblem has become a hit for Denim Tears since founder Tremaine Emory introduced it in 2020. The reef to him symbolizes the history of slavery, the plight of African Americans, and is just one of many designs from a label that's committed to sharing stories about Black diaspora. Now, the only problem with this whole cotton reef situation is that obviously for Tremaine, the cotton reef holds a lot of like, it's a very strong message. It's a very strong symbol, sorry. It should be a strong symbol for all Black people, to be fair. But for Tremaine Emory, it being his brand, there's a lot of significance that comes from that symbol. But I have to be honest, right? And you guys in stream chat, people out there that listen to the podcast after the fact, let me know. I'm being honestly true about this. The only people I've ever seen wear Denim Tears outside in real life have been non-black people. I've seen Denim Tears. You see a lot of you see a lot of it worn in airports. I actually had the idea of maybe getting one for an airport fit. It seems like the de facto choice people going to the airport in terms of a nice kind of like fancy sweatsuit to wear. So I've seen people wearing the airport, people wearing it at shopping malls, people wearing it about town where I'm from. And the only people that I've seen wearing this stuff day to day have been non-black people. So I wonder if you're Tremaine Emory and this cotton reef represents what it represents. Number one, is he bothered that the people that wear it necessarily aren't black, especially ones that I've seen where I'm from? In the States might be a bit different. And is he even bothered that the people that wear it have no idea what the cotton reef is? Because I did ask one kid before. I did bump into a kid who had a full set on it, and I did ask him if he knew what that symbol meant. He had no idea. He just thought it was a Denim Tears logo, but he had no idea the symbolism and wherever else that come from it. So I wonder if that's a point of contention for a guy like Tremaine, who's clearly very passionate about these type of things, or if the money helps him to dry away his tears. I'd love to know. The commitment made that Denim Tears what he is today, a business that according to the brand is generating tens of millions in annual revenue let me say that again. That commitment made Denim Tears what it is today, a business that according to the brand is generating tens of millions in annual revenue and has doubled sales every year since it was founded in 2019. God almighty. Obviously there's going to come a point where that'll stop, you'd imagine, but doubling your sales every year since 2019 is no mean feat, especially when you consider the amount of fucking competition out there when it comes to streetwear. There's so much competition out there. The fact that they've been able to do this since 2019 consistently is pretty impressive. Without any investors, only one retail partner, Dover Street Market, where it sells via a concession model. Next, the brand is set to expand beyond its lone flagship store in New York, and with a location in Tokyo set for 2026, and plans to eventually open stores in cities like Atlanta, Chicago, Houston, Philadelphia, Portland, Los Angeles to service from predominantly African-American customer base. Now that's pretty cool, but it is interesting to see the first location they go to outside the States is Asia, right? For a brand that's, very racially charged, very racially motivated and shit, has that symbol that again has a lot of history, has a lot of symbolism behind it when it comes to race and slavery over there in America, or just the black experience in general. For their first store to open in Asia is interesting. But then to be fair to Denim Tears and Tremaine and shit, Asia also is the home of streetwear. Asia is probably the place where a lot of black folks in streetwear feel probably the most comfortable at, because a lot of people over there, especially in places like Japan, they are really passionate about and kind of sincere when it comes to understanding different cultures around the world, honoring them, respecting them, lifting them up, putting them up on a pedestal, really taking them seriously and shit. So I wonder if it's less to do with being racial sellouts. Some people kind of call them to be on social media, Denim Tears, and more to them to do with just spreading the message, spreading the good word, across the fucking world when it comes to Denim Tears and shit. But yeah, I think that's fucking amazing. But by the way, tens of millions of annual revenue is fucking no joke. Let's scroll down to picture there of Tremaine sitting on the chair. It says the success has come in spite of to some degree, the controversy surrounding Emory has stirred. While he has provoked audiences with releases such as the necklace made out of chicken bones, it was his 2023 split with Supreme, just 18 months after being appointed as the first creative director of the brand, that elicited some of the strongest reactions when he explained on social media that the rift occurred because he was prevented from using images by artist Arthur Jaffa. One picture showing a black man being lynched, another depicting a whip scarring the back of a free slave. On Supreme's apparel, alleging systemic racism, many fans criticized what they saw Emory's commercialization of black trauma. Yeah, and just the fact that he just sounded like a baby and a victim, you can't on one hand, maybe it's just me, but you can't on one hand celebrate the fact that Supreme hired their first external black creative director at their brand, and then because it didn't go well for you there, you then say that they are systemically racist. Like, if they were systemic racist, they wouldn't hire your black ass in the first place. Like, it didn't work out because it didn't work out. Like, most likely Tremaine's experience at Supreme didn't work out predominantly because of fucking James Jebbia. Love James Jebbia, respect him, James Jebbia, immensely for what he's done for streetwear, and the fact that, you know, he built Supreme up to be what it is now, especially for a guy who has never stepped foot on a skateboard. Fucking legendary. And again, like I said previous times, like I briefly bumped into James Jebbia when he was, I think this is just before the London Supreme store opened, and he was doing his little kind of, you know, walks around town, and he popped into 1948 with Michael Coppam actually from Gimme Five. And Michael Coppam from Gimme Five, you know, he's got a bit of a cunty, you know, standoffish, up his own ass attitude. But weirdly enough, James Jebbia was really nice. So Michael Coppam for fucking Gimme Five was a bit of an asshole. You know, kind of always has been. I think it's part of his brand. But James Jebbia was super nice. And I think it always happens like that, right? For whatever reason, the person at the top, like the actual big dog, the actual one that you actually need to be licking the ass of, is incredibly safe. But then you'll go to a Supreme store and I don't know, the girl working at the door, the guy sales assistant at the fucking on the shop floor. They're the cunts, but the people that actually own the brand are super, super safe. So big up James Jebbia for being nice when I kind of, you know, told him that he's I think I said something like, oh, you're amazing, thank you for making me fall in love with streetwear. I don't know what I said. Something stupid, right? And he was very, very, very courteous and shit. Shook my hand and stuff and asked me my name and kept it moving. I think he had the same outfit he wears now, by the way. He had the same outfit he wears now, that fucking raw denim suit he wears, like denim jacket, denim jeans, and I think a pair of Red Wings on. And Michael Coppin had that kind of, you know, Michael Coppin probably got autism from. Now I'm thinking about it, it wouldn't surprise me if Michael Coppin has some sort of tism. You know, like, because he's a bit of a strange lad, that guy. Very, very, very strange man. But big up Hideout, big up Gimme Five. Let's scroll down. But Emory's outspokenness has also been an anchor for Denim Tears, a black-owned label akin to 1990s brand Fubu, in its desire to speak to its community first and foremost. Emory said that as an artist whose designs are open to critique, but he feels that his expression of black experience is neither monolithic nor overly fixated on the negative tribulations. He doesn't plan to change his creative approach, which he said isn't intentionally provocative. No, I don't think it's intentionally provocative. I just feel like people get provoked by it, and for some reason, especially in America, they don't seem to like that short shit. They don't. I guess for some reason they have a, because I don't like it because it just looks a little bit shit. But I think they don't like it in America for some, which is odd because they also seem to like to peddle in that black trauma with movies and shit on slavery. So I find it kind of rich how some black folks on Twitter are very against Tremaine's expression of the black experience or black trauma on clothes, but they don't mind seeing it on the big screen. It's very, very strange. Don't get me wrong, there are some people that also complain that we have too many slavery movies, but I don't see the same sort of disdain and vitriol pointed towards those movies. And maybe it just comes down to the fact that a lot of black people in America don't really rate Tremaine as a designer. They don't think he's good enough. They don't think he's talented. They think he's garbage, and they probably use the, you know, the fucking slavery iconography, imagery, whatever it may be, as an excuse to attack him because they just don't rate him as a designer. I don't know. But regardless, I think the hate is a little bit, you know, a little bit OTT, a little bit unwarranted, a little bit OTT, a little bit over the top. It continues. When I'm making the collections, the only thing that's provocative to me is that these things haven't been talked about before. That's the real provocative thing for me, the lack of knowledge. By the way, it's also good to hear that he designs the collections. I don't know why. A part of me felt like he doesn't design them and he just kind of oversees the design and maybe picks certain things, like, you know, like a true creative director, maybe kind of oversees and steers people in the right direction, you know, maybe picks some details here and there. But I didn't know he actually designed some of it, which is what he's alluding to here, I think. Given the polarized political climate in the US, when many black Americans and other minorities fell under attack, his perspective on the point of attraction, not detriment, in the eyes of many Denim Tears customers. The quote, he's taken some important stands, he hasn't played it safe, it sticks to his values, said Jonathan M. Squares, assistant professor of the Black Visual Cultures at Parsons School of Designs, who's also a customer of the brand. We're in a moment where people want to support a project and a brand that's aligned with their values. Like I said, I don't think people necessarily care too much about Denim Tears' values. I just think they unquestionably make great clothes. It's unquestionable that they make really good streetwear, like really good streetwear. And I think now that Tremaine has stopped giving interviews and stopped moaning about Supreme and stopped talking about fucking racial injustice and shit on every fucking interview, I think people have been able to now see how good the brand is without it being tainted or swayed by their dislike for Tremaine as a person. Because again, for whatever reason, I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's because he's, you know, he says what he says, and maybe in that political climate in the US, they don't really like to hear that sort of shit. I don't know. But he does seem to rub people up the wrong way, Tremaine himself, not the designs. I think Tremaine rubbed people out the wrong way, and then people used Tremaine's designs as an excuse to attack him. That's what I think, but I could be wrong. It continues from StockX to the Met. Though it's hard to gauge the performance of a brand with almost no retail distribution, it's a momentum. Really? Shit. So they only sell to what? Dover Street Market and their own stores online. Ooh, they're making some money. Though it's hard to gauge the performance of a brand with almost no retail distribution, its momentum is evident on the resale market. On StockX, sales of Denim Tears list items grew 290% in 2024. After Emory exited Supreme compared to 2023, in the first half of 2025, the brand's products sold for 31% above retail on average, up from 21% during the same period last year. Maybe its biggest recent win, however, is nothing to do with the sales online hypebeast. It was Denim Tears' inclusion into exhibitions at the Metropolitan Museum of Costume Institute, such as the Superfine Tailoring Black Style and the America Lexicon of Fashion. Garments such as Ralph Lauren-esque knit sweatshirts with Pan-African American flags, cheekily dubbed the Tyson Beckford sweater in reference to the longtime polo model, are a part of the Costume Institute's permanent collections alongside Levi's denim featuring the brand's cotton reefs, which is fucking incredible. That's a good point though. That's an incredible nod. That shows that you're doing something. You're really fucking affecting culture. So big up Tremaine and Denim Tears for that one. A quote here. What attracts us to Tremaine's work for Denim Tears is the strength of his point of view and his mission to highlight the stories and histories of Black Americans, his own personal history, and the contributions of members of the African diaspora, and said Amanda Garfinkel, an associate curator at the Met's Costume Institute. And here you see an outfit, a look from a recent Denim Tears collection dedicated to black jockeys in the Met. Like, look how good that is, man. That's fucking brilliant. If, like, as I say, a lot of people don't praise this sort of shit because it's a black-owned streetwear brand. But if Prada did this, right? If Musha Prada did this exact look with this fucking crazy leather hexagonal fucking jacket with the zebra print shirt and the matching pants and the, I don't know what they probably are, maybe Chelsea boots, maybe just the model zone, and maybe fucking whatever it is, people be going fucking crazy over them. This looks so hard. Emery's design language of a wardrobe mainstays such as jeans and hoodies adorned with graphics and political commentary such as get rich or DEI trying comes from being a student turned thought leader for streetwear in the same vein as his friend, the late Virgil Abloh, R.I.P. Virgil. The way the brand forefronts black identity is also evident in New York flagship dubbed the African Diaspora Goods. Half of the store, which is situated in the original location of the pioneering streetwear retailer Union at 176 Spring Street, is reserved for a library that contains 1,500 books on African art rather than in clothes. That's fucking sick, man. I mentioned the other day, actually, when we went to Goodhood. We popped into Goodhood the other day in, is it near Truman's Brewery, whatever that place in Shoreditch is, Brick Lane, you know what I'm talking about. Goodhood have like what I imagine is a pop-up shop there. I think their shop on Cotton Road is gone now, if I'm not mistaken. Let me know in street chat if I'm wrong. But that store is garbage, man. Goodhood's retail online store is way better than their retail store. And I was really confused because I was thinking, like, if you've got a retail store nowadays, surely a brick and mortar store, surely you have to offer your customer a way more immersive experience, a way more worthwhile experience than them just shopping for stuff online, because what's the point of going in the store if you're not going to give me that experience? So if I'm hearing this correctly and they've got 1,500 books in this store, and you know Tremaine to be a guy that's always sharing books that he's reading or gonna buy soon or is interested in or has been recommended soon, it's actually a good way for you to kind of get, you know, enveloped in the Denim Tears world, to kind of be able to be transported to what they're about and shit, and to really kind of maybe seek some sort of connection between what they're making, what they're putting out, the visuals and everything going to start making sense. We start reading these books that are probably inspiring the collection that you're probably purchasing. But again, it gives you a reason to go out there, because, you know, you might grab a book while you're waiting for the store assistant to kind of get your shit from the back. You might typically go in there for some book recommendations in general, maybe borrow some in a sort of library system type of way. I don't know. I think it's a really cool idea. So big up him for doing that. Emory envisions Denim Tears' future stores serving as a similar purpose. The quote says, "I want each store to express parts of the diaspora through a collection." He said, "There's so much that needs to be saved and preserved in the future generations, and our stores can play a part in that." Growth mode. While Denim Tears does 85% of its business via e-commerce, physical retail is key. By the way, 85% is a lot, isn't it? Shit, it's not even like 80. 85. Shit. According to Emory, because he wants his customers to feel the quality of the garments and explore the meaning behind the collections. Granted that the label's strongest categories are staples such as hoodies, sweatpants, t-shirts, and Emory finds repeat customers are also gravitating towards upscale, ready-to-wear offerings beyond graphic apparel, such as leather pants and shirling coats. By the way, I'm a big believer, and I've said this from the beginning, even when he was going through his nonsense and saying all that stuff that was pissing people off and pissing me off. I was also saying from the very get-go that Denim Tears is ready to wear. Denim Tears' actual collection outside of the sweatsuit, so outside of the cotton reefs, is hella underrated. Doesn't get spoken about and is super, like, for instance, like, I still fondly remember the Denim Tears collaboration with fucking Opening Ceremony. That shit was fucking fire, man. It sold out in absolute minutes, right? But Denim Tears Opening Ceremony collection was so fucking good. Like, they do some really fucking good shit, and I wish people would give them more respect for that sort of good shit, but we don't. Is it Opening Ceremony? No. What brand is it? Opening Ceremony. What's the fucking brand called? It's for fucking Sweden. What are they fucking called again? Is it Swedish brand? Swedish brand collab. I forgot their fucking name again. And they made that 2-pack fucking Swedish brand collab. Let's see what's the name called again? That's it. Our Legacy. Denim Tears and Our Legacy collection was so, even the Stussy shit was actually kind of hard too. So is it a different thing? Let's see. This is a different thing. So yeah, the Denim Tears Our Legacy Stussy collab, fire, right? We know that was fucking great. You remember the denim suit they did there, but all of this shit is outside of the fucking cotton reef shit. The separate, I'm talking about the separate standalone Our Legacy shit. Let's see if I can find it. There was a separate Our Legacy thing where they had like this really crazy vest that they did. Oh, I can't find it anywhere here on this fucking image that I'm talking about. But I'm sure I'm thinking of the right thing. I'm sure it was Our Legacy. They did a collaboration with Our Legacy that I really fucking like. Let's see if I can find it on here. Our Legacy. Let's type it in that way. But I do remember it being extremely, extremely hard. And again, that's outside of the cotton reef shit. There we go. That's the one. That's the one. This one here. So fucking cool. And again, doesn't get the respect it deserves because everyone's obsessed with the cotton reef shit. But this is from what, 2023. It's a tribute to Tupac Shakur, Our Legacy and fucking Denim Tears collaboration. You got great suiting. You got fucking cardigan, sleeveless top, sweatshirt things. You got leather pants, great t-shirts, button-up shirts, great fucking denim, leather fucking vests and shit. Like, this was so fucking hard. Like, look at the little diamond buttons on the fucking denim suit. Like, you can't go wrong with that, man. On that 101 denim jacket, the cardigan vesting going on there, this mesh top here, this rugby mesh top is fucking phenomenal. That leather vest is fucking phenomenal. So fucking well done, right? And again, stuff that you'd remember Tupac wearing in loads of iconic pictures back in the day. So they don't get the respect they deserve for their ready-to-wear. Their ready-to-wear is fucking hard. Everyone just focuses too much on all of that other shit that they do with the cotton reefs and shit. But anyway, let's go back to the article. Anthony Spector, Emory's business partner, said Denim Tears is approaching new product categories carefully to maintain quality, and the labels currently focus on outwear, shirting, while expanding into accessories into small leather goods, sunglasses, and potentially jewelry. Is that Little Yachty? Yeah, Little Yachty wearing some Denim Tears sweatsuit. Actually, let me see, what do they have on their website right now? What's available to purchase on that? Because everything Denim Tears fucking make sells out in fucking minutes. So let's see what they actually have available to purchase on their website right now. So Denim Tears shop. Let's see what's available now. Let's see new. What do they have? What can you, if you had money and you wanted to purchase shit, what could you get right now? You could get a cotton reef Western button up. That's pretty decent. I'm not too bad. You can get some t-shirts, some shorts. Oh, I like these. Oh, I like these layered shorts actually. I like these layered shorts. I ain't mad at these layered shorts. ADG double layered mesh shorts. They come in black and green, sorry, and they're also reversible. They look kind of and one-ish, isn't it? That logo looks very and one-ish. I ain't mad at that logo with the DT there. That's a very clever flip on the Denim Tears logo there. It kind of looks like also the CD, the compact CD logo, if that makes any sense. So you can get those shorts. Oh, I love these hats, by the way. Zip code hats. I ain't mad at the zip code hats. Big up my guy. I forgot his fucking name, but he made amazing hats out of BPM base. They were fucking brilliant as well. Such a clever design. Maybe I'll flip these and make postcode hats. This is really cool. 718212. in these really cool colorways too. I guess New York Mets colorways, Boston Celtics colorways and shit. New York Yankees colorways with the black and white. You've also got this ADG African Diaspora sweatsuit, which I guess is a kind of a nod to their Cotton Reef sweatsuit. So it's got that logo, you know, the badge that they have inside Denim Tears clothing that says African Diaspora Goods with Denim Tears on that kind of ribbon and shit. They have that printed on the outside of the fucking sweatsuit, which is kind of hard, I'm not gonna lie. If I was being picky, I'd say I'd want this to be a fucking double zip, two-way zip, you know. I think they sit better too. You can also unzip a little bit at the bottom as well. I think that'd be pretty cool to have. But it does look pretty nice actually, especially in that washed colorway as well. What else do they have available on the website? You have some hats, you have some shorts, but not a lot of Cotton Reef shit. So basically all the Cotton Reef stuff is gone. Cotton Reef stuff is always sold out, not able to be purchased. Oh, this RBG fucking do-rag. God damn, I like this. I ain't mad at this in the slightest. Yeah, I'm not mad at that in the slightest. Printed do-rag, one size, pack of 3, 100% polyester. Not mad at that in the slightest at all. With that fucking black, red, and green fucking colorway on the fucking do-rag. Not mad at that. But yeah, big up Denim Tears. Let's continue what's going on. The vision is to build out an entire wardrobe of Denim Tears customers who comes to the label organically. Spectre noted the brand, which has said has been profitable from the start, doesn't do paid marketing. So they want a full head-to-toe situation. They want people to come in there and buy luggage, leather goods that they mentioned before, hats, a whole shebang from Denim Tears. I think that's possible, right? Because they've been doing cut and sew to be honest from the beginning. They've been doing cut and sew from the very beginning, like actually making jackets and bombers and trench and hats and shit. So that's possible. I'm curious to see if Tremaine will ever go down the route of having an actual fashion show, because that would be fucking. I think that would go very well, especially with his popularity in the scene. I think a lot of people will be eager to attend it. Maybe it wouldn't be received very well by the fashion media and crowd. But I think I'd love to see it. I'm not gonna lie. I would actually like to see a Denim Tears fashion show one day. I think they would absolutely kill that. I think it would be an immersive experience. It'd be a bit of a runway theater, runway performance. The reality is we live in a world. This is a quote. We live in a time where the consumer really must connect with the product through the authentic storytelling, authentic creativity, authentic community, says Spectre. When you have those things in abundance, you don't need to pay to acquire customers. Yep, that's a good point. And I guess that's that guy, right? Anthony Spectre, is that him? I think that might be him there modeling some of the stuff. I don't know if that is him, but that looks pretty decent there. The company's also grown more than 30 employees who've come from streetwear brands such as Supreme, Emilion Dor, as well as luxury brands like Balenciaga. Wow, really? Some people left Supreme to join fucking Tremaine at fucking Denim Tears. That must have been very, very satisfying and gratifying. I'm not gonna lie. To get fucking scummed out by Supreme and then to have those same people that worked there now come sending you CVs. That must feel fucking good. Denim Tears' international customer base is growing too, in cities such as London and Paris, as well as countries such as Japan and Korea. Even though many of the shoppers don't have personal connection with the racial history, Emory joys on beyond pop culture. Yeah, that's like I said, that's always the funniest bit. Everyone I see wearing Denim Tears in my area, for sure is only wearing is not black for sure. The only people that I see wearing that sort of like sweatsuit is the kids wearing Essentials thing. It's kind of dying down now, but you still see the odd kid here and there wearing Fear of God Essentials sweatsuit head to toe. Maybe, to be honest, which is really sad, I've maybe seen more kids in my hood or in my ends wearing Represent, big up Represent guys from Manchester and shit. I've seen them wearing Represent sweatsuits, but I haven't seen them wearing Denim Tears sweatsuits. I'm not gonna lie. Not going to lie. Just in my area alone, I think I'm the only person I've ever seen wearing the Converses, because I've got the Converses in low and the high, and I think I'm the only person in my area I've ever seen, you know, that's worn them. Emory believes, but then in America, if you see the pictures of people wearing them, I think in America, especially in New York, a lot of people wear it. Like a lot of people feel a lot of hometown pride with kind of representing Denim Tears, representing Tremaine because he's obviously from there and shit. But for some reason, internationally, hasn't really, you know, hasn't really kind of come over the same way. Emory believes he still can be appreciative. Sorry, Emily believes they can still appreciate the meaning behind the label, and that the brand can appeal to anyone who has respect and passion for the stories behind the Black diaspora. It communicates not only with its clothing, but through media projects as well as full-length documentaries. The quote, "The way they put out their brand identity is really amazing on the marketing side, because their storytelling doubles down on who they are instead of what they think they should be," says Ismailia Ish Traore, founder of creative agency called Coral Studios and previous creative at Wyden and Kennedy, which is true. But I also think it's very intentional from Tremaine. He shut the fuck up about that sort of shit. Tremaine doesn't talk too much about, you know, black people can only wear. I don't. To be fair, he never said it, but you never hear him saying these type of things anymore. He's kind of walked back some shit. So I think it's very intentional because that guy isn't dumb. I'm sure intentionally he's decided to kind of step back from the microphone, step back from the interviews, step back from the press and the media, and let the brand speak for itself. Whenever resonates with it, but not try and make it seem as if, oh, only black people can wear this sort of shit, you know? Which I fucking love. I think Telfar done the opposite. I think the Telfar guy has explicitly come out and said anybody can wear this bag. It's not just for black people, which has obviously made it 10 times more popular. But I think Tremaine's done also a good job to just kind of walk back the kind of, you know, the commentary and shit, not get so triggered by certain people attacking him because he has a white wife and shit, and just let people just say what they want to say and then keep it moving, which I think is what you should do. A jacket from the 4th collection. Look at that. Look at that jacket from the 4th collection. Released in March, was inspired by New Orleans black masking news. Like, that's fucking gorgeous, that jacket there. That denim jacket with that print on it. So cool. Beyond Denim Tears, many other identity-focused streetwear brands by BIPOC founders have emerged post-2020. When the Black Lives Matter movement drew global attention, Emory believes that the larger streetwear category is now dominated by these types of labels, crediting the inequalities in America, the inequities in America and Western civilization. His quote: "If you go to Supreme, there are not too many people that look like me or Clint 419, founder of Cortez there. Yet the style of clothing is heavily based on how black people or minorities have influenced culture." By the way, like, I would like to ask Tremaine, because he keeps mentioning this sort of thing, like being surprised by how white the C-suite or the boardroom or the head office was the Supreme. And I'm confused because, like, I remember first coming across or being introduced to Tremaine when I used to work at 1948, and he was way closer with a former friend of mine who he was kind of way closer with. I don't know why. I think they might have worked in the same, so I don't know. But he was way closer with him than he was with me. But I kind of knew him loosely for the scene and shit. Haven't really spoken to him in a long time or seen him in fucking years. But I always kind of thought he was kind of plugged in the New York streetwear scene, plugged in the London scene. He moved with the right people. He was always in the right sort of circles. So usually within that sort of scene, it's a very small world. You kind of get an inside look on what's going on. You kind of are privy to a lot of gossip and a lot of industry news and shit. But you usually know what's happening. Even for myself, right? Being a little bit of a streetwear geek and a fan from the outside in, when I was really, really into this shit, I knew everybody. Like, you know, especially people, other people on forums can attest to this. I knew people that worked at Supreme before they even were public facing, before Instagram was even around. You'd find out who was working there. You knew who worked in the stores because you popped in there from time to time. You knew who may be rumored to be on the skate team, who got knocked off the skate team, who got sacked from the store, who was vying for a job at Nike. You know what I mean? You just knew what won. So I would like to ask Tremaine, like, is he lying when he says this? Like, if you just, like, because he makes it sound like he was surprised when he walked into Supreme head office and saw that it was kind of white. Like, how are you surprised? Like, you didn't know that, you know, that lady from Made Me was like one of the fucking longest serving employees there. You were not aware of the guys that have worked there before. I forgot, what's that guy's name? Ricky something, for the photography, I think, is it photography? I don't know, whatever he does there, right? The guy with the slick back hair. But there's a bunch of people that work there that you should have got an idea on, like, what it's like in the head office. And again, I'm not really too sure why that would be a negative, you know? Like, I don't necessarily see Supreme as a black facing brand, like, aesthetically. Maybe they have some, you know, aesthetics there, maybe tied in with New York, but I feel like as if it's like, it's racially ambiguous. It's kind of broad. It kind of covers all races. I don't think it's only about blacks. But I would be also like to ask him, like, was he generally surprised by that? Because he probably should have had a better understanding or knowledge of who worked at Supreme before he worked there. So him being generally surprised that there were so many white people there is making me curious as to were there more black people there before he worked there, or was he generally surprised? Let's continue. Emory's mission is to make sure nobody forgets that the influence of what black people have had to overcome to achieve it. He compares Denim Tears to films like director Spike Lee. The vantage point of most of his films is his perspective of black life in America. People laugh, cry, smile, get angry. These films he makes. I say it's the same for Denim Tears. If you're a human being, you can relate to these stories and learn from them. Okay. Fair play to him. Editor's note: the story was amended to correction of the address of the African diaspora goods. Big up Denim Tears, big up Blood Clot Denim Tears. Let's actually go over to their I want to check out their fucking. Oh, actually, Denim Tears actually made a point actually on Twitter. This is fucking amazing. Big up Tremaine. This is fucking hilarious. I think I'm still blocked actually, which is a fucking bummer and really sad because I think it was during that whole time when everybody was attacking Tremaine for some of the supremist, systemically racist fucking situations. And to be fair to him, he was saying some nonsense online, and I forgot why I must have said in reply, and I guess he didn't like it, so I got the old bada block. But hey, it is what it is. In Elon Musk's new X world, you can still see people's tweets. So he decided to what's that thing called? Quote tweet one of these tweets that said as follows: Tremaine Emory reveals Denim Tears pulls in $10 million in annual revenue sales, doubles its sales every year. Now the brand is going to expand in global markets. And Denim Tears quote tweeted it with a clarification and said, maybe y'all read it wrong. Tens of millions. That means multiples of 10 million, not just 10 million. Jesus Christ, man. Tremaine letting his nuts hang. Personally, it's not for me. Personally, I'm not the type of person to brag about stuff like that. Like, you're never going to see me in a diamond chain. You're never going to see me in a fucking really fancy car. The only way you'd see that I've attained the type of wealth that I would like for myself and my family and shit will just be the vacations I go on, the background to my pods and shit, the quality of my fucking videos. But you will never see it in fucking, material things. And I also would never say online, oh yeah, man pulls in. I mean, it's just a little bit crass. But when it comes to black people and shit, when it comes to our positioning out here in culture, when it comes to leaving a mark, I think it's important to clarify some things and to sometimes let people feel your presence, let people know while gone. I think it's important. I think that's one of the unfortunate things about being black sometimes, is that I feel like sometimes people don't give you your flowers, so you have to remind people just how powerful you actually are. You have to remind people just how important you actually are. You have to remind people just how fucking sick you are, because if you don't, they won't do it. That's the issue. They'll do it to their fucking other, white counterparts, people who maybe face fits, but to you, they won't. So you have to try, like for blacks, you have to fucking try, 10 times as hard. You can't make as many mistakes as others, but then you also have to be your biggest fan. But then if you're your biggest fan and you're overly confident, they then try and knock you down and try and kind of humble you because you're too confident, too cocky into what you do and shit. So it's a fucking nonsense situation to be in, but it kind of is what it is. So I understand why he did it, to clarify why he clarified, but it also goes to show just how much shit this guy sells, bro. And again, think about it, right? He's selling multiple tens of millions of Denim Tears clothing, and you'd imagine most of it is probably cotton reef sweatsuits, probably accounts for the large majority of that selling. But just imagine how much more he would be selling if fakes didn't exist. If the Fugazi, secondhand market, whatever that market exists, or people selling fakes on Temu, AliExpress, Taobao, Reddit subreddits and shit, Discords, right? Sunday markets. If that world of Denim Tears didn't exist, just imagine how much more money he'd be making if he's already making tens of millions of dollars right now with this shit. It's fucking phenomenal. So big up him. Let's go quickly to the Instagram and see what they've got dropping soon that people are talking about. They're talking about, first of all, here, this shirt that I think we already saw on the website. We've got two shirts here. We've got a nice button-up shirt that has a cotton reef, or button-up plaid shirt with a cotton reef with Swarovskis all over them too. You've got another shirt with different badges and tags, I'm guessing, from other stuff they've done maybe in the past, and this nice blue pinstripe with the zip code snapback as well. You've got the two-tone shorts there. You've got a polo shirt, and of course another one of the hats too. You've also got the camo cotton reef that's coming very soon, right? Available on Friday. Camo cotton reef. You've got this football jerseys top coming as well, and you've also got the shorts that match with it. And there's also a really cool do-rag that also goes with it. Let me actually check this out. Actually, let's go back here. What do we have here? So the camo cotton reef is just a camo cotton reef. So it's cotton. It's a cotton reef kind of masked into the camo. It's not overly obvious there. And there's also a t-shirt that goes with it, and also a do-rag. What else do we have here? We have more images from the collection that I spoke about previously. ADG SS25. I guess, is that what they're going by now? Africa Diaspora Goods. not Denim Tears, or is that Denim Tears ADG? I wonder why what that is. Oh, maybe it's just ADG because of the label. But I do like the wash of the sweats and the top as well. It looks fucking cool. So does the styling. I ain't mad at all of that. Looks fucking great. Actually, what is that? Is that a belt around his waist? What is that? I ain't mad at that belt there. Not mad at that belt whatsoever. Oh, look at the raw seam at the bottom of the shirt. Is that what he's done there on the bottom of the shirt? So it looks like the shirt has like a raw hem at the bottom. Is that what I'm seeing there? So instead of it being like stitched and folded at the bottom, it looks like that the shirts have like a little bit of a raw hem, if I'm not mistaken. Which shirt was it actually? Let me go back to the fucking Instagram. What shirt am I looking at here? Not that one. What shirt am I looking at? I'm looking at that shirt, right? With the African Diaspora Goods, ADG. Let's scroll down. So allegedly this shirt's got like a raw hem. That's pretty cool. I ain't mad at that actually. You can't actually see it here because it's like a photo. No, it's not. It's actually a product picture. But it does look like it's been double stitched here. But on the actual model picture, it looks like there's like a raw hem here, like they've cut it with this pair of scissors. Maybe they have cut it, to be fair. Maybe for the styling of this lookbook, they've cut the hem here so that you can see more of the belt. But I quite like that as a little detail. That's quite a nice little design detail because it kind of rolls up over time as well, because it's a nice little effect. There's also another image here of the model wearing the sweatsuit in pink and this washed out orange, lilac tea, peachy colorway. And there's also this massive Ghana Must Go-esque bag as well that the model's carrying. And I wonder if that's going to be part of the collection. Not too sure. But like I said, man, a lot of the stuff that they've been doing has been fucking sick. But, you know, people have been kind of turning a blind eye to it because people kind of maybe aren't too fans of what Tremaine has to say on social media. But I feel like ever since he stepped back from socials, people have been loving it. I've been loving this stuff more and been appreciating what, like, look at that. Look at those track pants. Those track pants are fucking sick, man. That reminds you of some needle shit, but done in his style. That's fucking amazing with these fucking strings that dangle down. That D, that DT, that logo is fucking cool. That is really, 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 really well done. Snapback with the jacket. Like, that is an amazing lookbook as well. Very, very, very well done, to be fair. Some more stuff's here as well. There's a what's that sweatsuit actually? Is that a light? Is that a blue? That's a really nice sweatsuit. That's reminding me of some Sean John shit. I ain't mad at that in the slightest. So big up him for that. Some more on that snapback. And they've also got some clips or some pictures here of the cotton reef as well. The cotton reef that dropped a while back ago. Oh, look at those boots. I wonder if those boots are part of his collection coming out soon. I wonder if those boots, we're gonna get those boots soon. These fireman cowboy boot type things with this strap that has an American flag strap on it. Or if that's just like Model Zone. I don't know if that is Model Zone, but that looks really fucking cool. And you've also got the Denim Tears boxes as well. That I ain't mad at in the slightest. Also, sweatsuits. Yeah, cool shit, man. Cool fucking shit. Cool fucking shit. Cool. Where's the denim shorts, Lord? We gotta get it. Each panel is puff printed and assembled by hand. Praying they upgraded the pockets. I've broken too many. Oh, really? Yeah, that's probably what they need. They probably need to make the pockets deeper or give them zips. But then there's a problem. If you make these pockets deeper on these denim sweat shorts, you're then probably gonna have to increase the price. And I'm assuming if you add some zips on them. But they're desperate. Oh, that's Venus X, isn't it? Big up Venus X. But they probably need some zips on the pockets for sure to kind of give it the necessary, you know, security that they need. And there's also a clip here from the Denim Tears block party featuring clips that look pretty cool. Let's play this.
Yeah, come on, get him deep. You run from the spirit of repossession. Too much enamel covers your necklace, yeah.
For some reason, it's only coming out of one headphone. I don't know why it's only coming out of one earphone, so apologies if that's the case. But it's only coming out of one earphone.
I buy bitches, you buy obsessions. You buy watches, I buy collections. Misery's fueling your aggression. Jealousy's turned into obsession. Reality TV is blood wrestling. Some sign checks I know better than. You wear my name, the man's delicate. You know I know where you're delicate. Crush you to pieces, I humble breath of it. I will close your heaven for the hell of it. You think if you valor amongst veterans? Yeah. I'm watching your fame, escape relevant. Yeah. You all in the room, but he's the elephant. You chasing a feature out of your element. Come on. And those lab diamonds under inspection. The question marks block your blessing. There's no tombstones in the desert. One more time. You know by now I get the message. Uncle said, nigga, you must be sick. All you talk about is just get rich. Choke my neck, nigga, and ice my bitch. Beat the system with chains and whips. It don't take much to put two and two. Your lucky streak is now losing you. Money's dried up like the cuticle. You gasping for air now. It's beautiful. John 10, that's my usual.
Fucking great. Let's look at the other one. One more.
We broadcasting live, Hot 97. From Flex DJ.
This is pretty cool, by the way. Bringing back block parties. I'm not gonna lie. This looks fucking amazing. It's shot really well too. They're doing that thing that all the kids are doing now, where they're purchasing. By the way, it's a pretty cool technique. I'm a little bit over it because loads of really corny, lame people that I follow, really basic, normie kind of bitches and shit are now starting to do it. Where you buy like an old digital camera, one that I used to use myself back in the day when I used to take my pictures at fucking club events and shit, and you use that to record your videos or take your content or take pictures in general. And the idea behind it is that you're more present because you're not always on your phone. And also aesthetically, the pictures just come out with this different type of grain, different type of light, different type of contrast they don't necessarily get with your iPhone. It kind of make it feel more rich, and they kind of feel alive and shit. It's just a great way to kind of take pictures and shit. So people, kids in general, are starting to buy camcorders. They're buying old fucking digital cameras and shit and recording shit like this on SD cards and stuff and doing all that malarkey. It's a pretty cool little scene. So I think somebody did the same sort of thing with this block party. Hot 97's block party with them too. By the way, Hot 97, personally for me, I stopped listening and following all their content on social media, but I'm assuming in New York, Hot 97 is still a thing and people still give a shit about what they're doing. I feel like their summer jam thing has kind of died down, you know, culturally. But if they do this sort of stuff like this year on year, annually, block parties and shit, in collaboration with Denim Tears as well, that might be a thing. That might be a cool little thing to kind of, you know, give New York that fucking push that it needs. Or maybe fill that void that summer jam kind of left. I don't really know. But this is pretty cool. Big up Funk Flex, big up Denim Tears, big up Hot 97.
Hey, Bobby Trent, we here. Big Digital, shake the block. 176 Spring Street. Oh! We're not playing out here. Denim Tears block party. Yes, sir. We broadcasting live, Hot 97.
Panama fishing village, visiting with Papa. With Chopper, all of you imposter. Simply just Ferrari window shoppers. The one that I just saw that looked like it was built by NASA. Over $500,000 we call for Kasha. Reaching for Akasha. Panama fishing village.
Wow. Look how busy it is.
Inspired by Bosky, I'm a chariots of fire. Everybody took shots at my body, I'm tired. Build me up, break me down, build me up again. They like Hogan, need you back. Yes, again.
Wow.
He's on fire.
There's nothing like a New York block party to give you FOMO, bro. There's nothing like a New York block party to give you FOMO. There was I forgot what that party's called in New York recently. It's like a house rave they do in a park. People are complaining that it was getting gentrified and shit. But there's certain things you see happening in New York that gives you instant FOMO. That house particular party rave that happens in the park, and it's an annual thing and it's a tradition. It's been going on since I think the 80s or something. That looked fucking amazing. And random block parties, honestly, you see people on rooftops in New York during the summer. You see random block parties of people enjoying themselves in New York, and it gives you instant FOMO, man, because that's where that city really shines. And when these spontaneous type of things happen out of the blue, or just happen in the streets in general. You're out here drinking, having a good time, dancing, got your best fits on, beautiful, cool people all around you. It must be so fucking fun, man.
And you birthday girl, that's the birthday girl, that's the birthday
Fucking Venus X, man. Fucking big time Venus X. I remember we once booked her to play a rave of ours in London, and she fucking aired us. We booked her way ahead of time, and she ditched our party to play another rave. This was many years ago, by the way, when I used to do this rave in fucking Alibi called So Special. We had booked her to play, and yeah, she ended up which to be fair was a bit brutal. It kind of hurt our feelings back then, but then looking, you know, as the years go by, you realize that this is a standard thing that happens in club culture, happens in clubbing in general with DJ bookings. Sometimes DJs will accept your booking on the basis that they don't have anything else, and then if another bigger booking comes in that will pay more or that is more clouted, they will take that over yours. It hurts as a promoter, it hurts as a fucking person organizing a rave, because you're essentially selling that event on the basis of this big time DJ or somebody that you rate playing, and you're hoping you can sell tickets with their name. But then they drop out lastminute.com. It can fucking hurt. I think at that time what we did, I think we might have kept her name on a flyer. That's the only reason how we kind of tried to remedy this situation. We kind of scummed the whole shit and kept her name on a flyer anyway. But yeah, she ended up not turning up to our rave. If I'm not mistaken, I think she said she wasn't coming. I'm gonna give her the benefit of that. I don't think she just not turned up. I think she did tell us in the end that now she took a better gig, a better paying gig. It's, you know, it's the thing. You have to hustle, whatever it may be. But big up Venus X. We tried to get her, but she didn't end up turning up. Big up Venus X. It's fun, man.
Let God sort them out.
Yeah, man. Give me this version of Denim Tears any day of the week. Give me this version of Denim Tears any day of the week. Connecting with the people. You know, just yeah. Give me this version. Give me this version. This version seems fun. This version seems cool. This version seems fun. This version seems cool. Big up DT. Big up Blood Clot D fucking T. Talking about blood clots. God damn. Fredo. Fredo looks like he's back home. Or no, Fredo looks like he's back online. Not back home, sorry. Not back home, definitely. But it looks like he's back online. And it's questionable why he's back online, because it seems like he's going to get himself in a world of trouble. Because as most of you guys know, according to loads of outlets out there, Fredo's gang, HRB, all of his people that he's you know, in that gang with have unfortunately now been convicted with the plot to assassinate Digga D. And for that entirety of that case and shit, Fredo has basically been living in Dubai, living in Thailand, allegedly in other places. People are alleging that he's over there because he's running away from the impending court case, because even though his name wasn't mentioned in this HRB case, they are saying that he will be maybe tried separately for his own involvement in the alleged assassination or plan to assassinate Digga D, which is why he's staying over there in the Middle East and in parts of East Asia. But he has come back online recently to kind of address some of those rumors. But this is a story regarding it. It says, gang who flooded London with guns and drugs in deadly postcode war are jailed for 116 years over plot to shoot Britain's most hated drill rapper. So let's read the following. Seven members of Seven members of notorious London gang have been sentenced to a total of 116 years for conspiring a gun plot to try and shoot rival rapper. Harrow Road Boys HRB bought firearms in a bid to harm drill rapper and star Digga D as part of a gang war that has left 3 people dead and brought communities to their knees. The gang or the group attempted to hunt down the controversial artist who's part of Ladbroke Grove based CGM Cherish God Moore gang as part of a tit for tat postcode war in West London from 2022 to 2023. The feud began when a member of the Harrow Boys, which is also flooded with the streets of London drugs, was shot for entering a rival gang's territory. 2 other killings were to follow. one of which involved the brother of a high-ranking member of HRB, after which 7 members of the gang were tasked with finding Digga D and harming him in revenge, the Crown Court has told. Let's continue with the article here. It says, today they were jailed for more than 100 years after pleading guilty of firearm charges, and the judge labeling them a blight on their own community. A fellow member of the group, rapper Marvin William Bailey, better known as Fredo, was also named as a conspirator in the trial. However, he failed to appear when the court, with the court being told he's believed to be living abroad. Digga D, real name is Reese Herbert, was jailed for more than 4 years in January for supplying 445 kg of cannabis after he was arrested during an Instagram live stream. His rap songs and videos glorifying violence and gang videos have done him the most hated rapper due to his long list of enemies. By the way, one of the annoying things about Digga D is that he's in and out of prison, right? And he can't stay free. But one of the things that's probably kept him alive is that he's in and out of prison, if you think about it. If he was on the road, if he was out and about making music, living his life, enjoying his wealth, enjoying his making the most of his talent, and actually trying to get out there and do more, he probably wouldn't be still alive. That's the mad thing about it. So this thing that the fans, myself, hate him for, being in and out of prison, has legitimately saved his life. So big up fucking Digga. So in a weird way, maybe Digga D knew what he was doing, right? A lot of us fans have been bemoaning the fact that he hasn't been outside, he hasn't been putting pressure on the music industry. He should be the one where Central C is. Central C's fucking smashing it, and he's fucking in prison, you know, wasting away in his talent. But long game, he's still alive. Because it seems like these HRB boys were not fucking joking. They were really out to fucking, you know, get some fucking numbers on the scoreboard. And one of their biggest numbers, one of their biggest targets they wanted to go after was fucking Digga D. And they were willing to do whatever needed to kind of get to that stage. And obviously they couldn't, because he wasn't really about, and he was moving kind of well as well. Very street smart, it seemed like. He kind of sensed when he was being lined up and shit, and usually avoided being caught in certain positions, certain places, and wasn't caught slipping in most of the situations as well. So you got to give him credit for that. It continues. There's a Digga D at Rude Show. It continues here. By the way, that outfit that they got him in is fucking diabolical. He deserves much better than that. But hey, we move. There's Fredo here with his picture from Instagram. And here's one of the people that got locked up who was part of HRB. What's his name? Tavon Tisson led the search for Digga D as part of the tit for tat postcode war with the rapper CGM gang. He's been jailed for 70. By the way, I'm surprised. Just an observation here. I'm surprised that Russ Millions hasn't been charged and arrested. I'm surprised, because in this whole trial, it came out that Russ Millions was involved, because Russ Millions allegedly gave somebody that knows the HRB lot the drop on Digga D one day when Digga D was at tape or recording at some recording studio, knowing full well that they had beef. So I'm shocked. I'm surprised that Russ hasn't been pulled up on charges. Not gonna lie, because you know, if something would have happened, God forbid it didn't happen. Thank God it didn't happen. But if something would have happened, then Russ would have played an integral part in those guys finding out where Digga D was in the first place. You know, he would have been part of the conspiracy, you'd imagine. But hey, maybe he's not involved. Maybe he's not involved. Prosecutor Ian McLuhan, KC, told the court that the first killing took place in July 2020 when Billy McLuhan, also known as Billy the Kid, was shot dead by rival gang members in Halsden. Yeah, you'll know HRB, Fredo, all those guys are always shouting at this Billy the Kid guy. He was a really, really popular member of their group and their gang. So once that guy dropped, it was all hell loose, to be honest. And everybody, no one was off the table, it seemed, unfortunately. So RIP that Billy the Kid. Just a month later, Jeffrey Wegbay, 26 years old, known as Gucci, was also shot dead in Kilburn. Mr. McLuhan said that his death was glorified in the video for a drill rap song called Roll Up, released by Javion Tisson, who is also known as Little Dots and is a member of the Harrow Road Boys. The lyrics of the song refer to taking a dead person's ashes and making them into a roll-up cigarette as a sign of disrespect. Jesus Christ. Okay, Jesus Christ. Less than 2 years later, in July 2022, Tisson's 26-year-old brother, Danashi was killed after being shot in the heart outside of a block of flats in Kilburn. Following this, Tisson led a search for Digga D and sent a list of rival gang members target the court. The 24-year-old has also added status in the gang due to being a successful recording artist in his own right. Also abused a woman to store a firearm in his own music videos. Snapchat correspondents showed the gang members discussing holding and financing firearms, where they said they no longer required a female, to store the firearm. By the way, discussing rideouts, discussing shootings, discussing the acquiring of firearms over Snapchat, insane, bro. I think the thinking behind it is because they think Snapchat messages disappear and they're somewhat private, that no one's able to track them. But I can't imagine anything more stupid. I can't imagine anything more idiotic. Why can't you just discuss this in person? Why do you have to discuss the acquiring of fucking firearms over fucking DMs? It seems fucking insane. But I'm sure there's a reason for it. But it seems fucking insane, very incriminating, and easy to get caught. But hey, who knows? That's a picture. Gang feud began in 2020 after Billy McLuhan, Billy the Kid, was killed going into a rival gang territory. Is that because this is quickly followed by the killing of Jeffrey Wegbay. There's a picture of him there. A few deeper in 2022 when Denishi Tisson, brother of high-ranking member Javion Tisson, was shot dead. So this fucking guy, Little Dots, had a lot of heartbreak in his family, innit? If I'm not mistaken, I think so his brother died, his sister died, I think, as well, from, I think, was it health complication or something? So just like friends dropping, Billy the Kid dropping, his brother dying, sister dying. He's had a fucking rough life, bro. Jesus Christ. Here's a picture of them in prison, I'm assuming. Javion Tisson posing with another male who's obscuring his face inside a jail cell with the letters HRB written on graffiti on the door. One of the guns recovered as police investigated the gang. Yeah, that's the gun there, right? Jesus Christ. Eventually, their $500 a month lock, a name for an individual storing the weapons, was recovered by police. And a week later, there was a fatal shooting in August 23rd, 2022. That's a problem, though, isn't it? You take the £500 a month to be the lock, right? To look after the gun, but that gun's probably involved. That gun's been involved in mad shootings. That gun's probably got a trail of bodies attached to it. So if you get caught with it, you're going to be charged for all those bodies. So yes, you get 5 bills, but you also run the risk of getting fucking, football numbers in terms of prison sentences. I don't think it's worth it. Mr. McLuhan said that the 7 defendants intended to cause significant harm as they attempted to hunt Digga D, who is part of the CGM gang. Mr. McLuhan described it as a high culpability case demonstrated by weapons seized by police being replaced by the defendants. Jesus Christ. The members of Harrow Boys gang, Javion Tisson, Kaylin Garnham, Mustafa Abdallah, Romello Briggs Leon, Harry Crump, Yassin Abdullah, Herman Yikalo, pleaded guilty conspiracy for possessing a firearm with intent to endanger life between July and November. Abraham Safar Frimpong was found not guilty of the charge, but was found guilty of perverting the court of justice by smuggling funds behind bars. At the sentencing hearing today, a community impact statement from the police constable David Hammond told how the gang wreaked havoc on the ward and beyond. The Harrow Boys gang had a massive impact on the community, and the court heard the high-level drug dealing and serious crimes in the area. Children were recruited by the gang to expand the drug dealing operation outside the capital, and offences the Harrow Boys leaving the community in fear of the next attack. I've never understood this side of the road. When I was coming up in ends, right, a lot of the gangs that I was around or that lived in around my area, they were a part of the local community. Like, they would be the gangs that a lot of mums would go to for loans. A lot of the gangs the mums would go to fucking babysit their kids, to set their kids right and shit. I don't know, to just look after people in the area, make sure no other people were coming in and doing the madness and shit. You know what I mean? Set people, especially when it came to domestic abusers and shit. Those gangs would handle certain situations. But one thing they didn't do was sully the ends. They wouldn't sully the ends. If they were going to recruit, they recruit out of ends. But they wouldn't sully the ends with nonsense. They wouldn't be doing high-level drug dealing around and shit, and just, making shit hot and whatever it may be. But nowadays, I feel like gangs don't have any respect for their living surroundings, their community, their friends and family and around them, and they do the most scummiest things to the people that they live in and around. They really disrespect where they're from, disrespect the people around them, and I think it's a bad way to go about it, because in the end, those very same people are going to be the ones to turn against you. So if you hold them down, if you hold the local community down, if you do right by the local community, they will hold you down too. But if you scum them, they're going to scum you back. And I never understood why a lot of these guys don't get that sort of shit. It's a really strange thing. where they kind of, again, wreak havoc in the local community, not knowing that, you know, as the years go by, it only takes a couple of really brave people to step forward and say, you know what, enough's enough. I want to fucking get rid of these people. They're ruining my fucking community. They're ruining my neighborhood. And then they're the first people to fucking, you know, volunteer to snitch. And they know everything. They know all the inner goings on of what you have going on, because they live right amongst it. So bad strategy, I think, for some of these gangs. I get it why they do it, but bad strategy. That's some of the kids that got locked up. Kyle Granham, it says there. Mustafa Abdallah, jailed for all people for 17 years, right? Fucking hell, man. 17 years in prison. This guy looks like he's been involved in a fight before he got into prison. Romello Briggs Leon, 17. The gang felt that they were above the law, the court said. On August 2023, the crew showed complete disregard for bail conditions set to prevent further offending and threw a party in the middle of Harrow Road. They got bail when they threw a party. Fucking hell. I guess you might as well, innit? Because they probably knew they were going to go away for a long time. I don't think any of these guys thought they were under any false assumption they were going to come home. So maybe throwing a little block party is the best you can do with the time I have available, because you never know you're going to do it ever again. Gang violence has been a ward priority for several years. This is without doubt the issue that concerns us, my residents, the most. The statement from the officer says, the hardest thing I have to do is to deal with families who have lost their children to gang violence. He added, the gang violence destroys the lives of entire families in split seconds, and the network needs to be broken before another person is killed. Police found 2 guns in a bag in a service cupboard in the next to a flat in the Mozart estate on October 24, 2022. They forensically linked it to Tisson and Granham. The prosecutor said the police also searched a flat in a tower block in Vauxhall in November 10, 2022, and found a loaded gun hidden between 2 panels in a roof void. The lead offense, conspiracy to possess a firearm with intent to endanger life, is aggravated by the fact that the weapons were replaced when police found them. So police found the guns and they got some new guns. Jesus Christ. Yasin Abdullah jailed for 17 years after admitting taking part in the plot. Another guy here, Herman Yekalo, jailed for 17 years. The gang also locks, by the way, kind of bigged them up for not snitching, I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of refreshing to see a gang all go down for the same amount of years. Nobody got off. Everyone just like held it down. No comment, no comment, no comment. They were gonna hold their, you know, this is the life you chose. Again, I'm not a fan of it, but one thing I do detest is this snitching culture that's been sort of like promoted, especially by like the neeks and the geeks within hip hop and shit. We kind of get off on like proving people are snitches and stuff and showing that it's all a facade and it doesn't matter. It's like, no, it does matter. It does matter. Like, if you're a part of that life and you live that lifestyle, I think you owe it to your fellow gang members, for lack of a better term, to kind of hold them down in those kind of situations. You know exactly what lifestyle you're getting into. You know that for the most part, it only leads to fucking what? Death and prison. Very rarely do you get out and kind of live to see another day. But if you're going to get into that lifestyle and you get caught, shut the fuck up. You know, you don't get to then now suddenly have a fucking conscious and decide you want to live a fucking civilian life and you want to live a regular life. No, you chose to live that life. Go down with it, you know, for better or worse. Obviously, I prefer if you didn't do it and you went to college and got a regular job. If you're gonna live that life, hold down your boys, man. I think it's really disgusting when people fucking start pointing fingers and trying to get out early and trade. It's like, no. Doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. The gang used locks to keep the gun safe. There was a discharge on one of the firearms, and the firearm recovered was used to shoot a group of CJ members. It was also heard that the gang smuggled mobile phones into prisons across London by using drones. Wow, I thought that was just a Hollywood thing. The handsets were also used behind bars for prisoners to order illicit substances and tobaccos, which were also flown in via drones. Crump, by the way, they've got baiting things up in it. Ugh. Crump was also found guilty of the possession of the intent to supply cocaine in February 28, 2023, after 16.3 grams of the drug were found on a table. When they found on a table, his table, as well as messages indicative of selling cocaine, was found in his phone. I bet he was probably busting down that 16 grams in it. He was probably busting down that 16 grams like 0.3s. You know what I mean? Selling 0.3s as 1 grams. He was probably selling 0.3s as the 1 gram. Absolute diabolical, man. The way fucking roadmen move with selling drugs here in the UK. Scam artist. Mustafa Abdullah pleaded guilty to possession with intent to supply controlled drug after 580 grams of cannabis was seized from his home address. He had 580 grams of weed at his house. Jesus Christ. In the borough of Kensington. Yassin Abdullah also found guilty of possessing the intent to supply of the Class A drug after 9 grams of heroin was recovered from a address in Westminster. The drugs were thrown into a neighbouring balcony with messages concerning drug dealing, which also recovered on the phone. Judge Marcus Trigalis Davey said HRB Gang was involved in a long-running and deadly rivalry with CGM and a long series of shootings and violent reprisals. He added the rivalry was also further fueled by tensions between prominent members of HRB, CGM gangs, Fredo and Digga D. Here's a picture of one of the guys also arrested. Also, Harry Crump, judged for 14 years for conspiracy to possess a firearm with intent to endanger your life. Bloody hell, this is the shooter. This is the shooter, Harry Crump. Big up Harry Crump, bro. He doesn't look like it. Again, that makes sense though. That makes sense, innit? Why you'd have your shooter look like this. Like this big fat white boy is the shooter of like HRB. It makes sense because he looks very unsuspecting. You never think he's the shooter. But he must have been the shooter then, innit? Shit. Big up, was that Abraham Safo Frimpong? Was found not guilty of firearm, but also jailed for 2 years for smuggling mobile phone to prison. Okay, cool. So this guy got the least amount of years, 2 years for smuggling a phone into prison. One of the guns used on HRB had been discharged. The firearm was recovered by police on a beach 3 days later. The gang used a woman to store the firearm. A conversation recovered on Snapchat group chat also showed the gang discussing buying a lock for the gun. There was also a fatal shooting throughout 2022 in Harrow area, and at the same time that there were videos of CGM gangs taunting their rivals, claiming responsibility for the violent attacks. HRB gang actively searching for Digga D in what, my view, was clearly and going on to be a hit involving a firearm they learnt the whereabouts in a music video in central London. There was significant planning. There was a use of a female to move the firearm around, and the youth stored the firearm and ammunition at the address in Harrow. It's also clear that there was significant discussion about sourcing locks for guns on Snapchat. The gang posed a high risk due to the firearms, but also a high risk for the disorder, as a hit on Digga D would have inevitably led to repercussions from CGM. By the way, how does Digga D feel? How do you think Digga D feels about this? How do you think Digga D feels about this? Do you think Digga D is afraid for his life? Do you think Digga D is like nervous going forward now? Do you think Digga D is like looking over his shoulder permanently? Or does this sentencing lock up the majority of the HRB guys out after him? Are they still, is there still a lot of these HRB guys on road now who could do Digga D some nonsense? Does he have other ops that could do this some nonsense? So I wonder how he feels, because there's a rumor that he's coming out in October or something, right? October, December of this year. I wonder, does he come out, is he relaxed because these guys are in prison for 14 years? Or is he nervous and worried because there are some HRB guys out there who are going to try and finish the job that their other gang mates maybe couldn't finish? The judge added that the defendant were immersed in gang culture and violence. You were living in the shadows of civilized society. Not one of you shed an ounce of remorse for what you've done. The truth is that you are members. Again, they shouldn't really. You're in a gang, man. Why should you suddenly be crying, showing remorse now? You know what you're into. You know what you did. The truth is that you members of HRB are a blight on your community, which they are, I'd imagine. But let's not try and make them, let's not try and do all that nonsense. 17 years behind bars, a couple of Westminster jailed for 14-year conspiracy. They asked the court to be merciful due to his sad background. No, mitigating for Tyson. Mr. Alfred Bell, or Affleck, what's he said? Alfred Bell said the 24-year-old suffering from PTSD had been impacted by the deaths of his family members, including his older brother and only remaining sibling, who was shot dead in the street. They asked the court to be merciful due to his sad background. Sad background. Representing Mustafa Abdullah, he still got hit with 17 years, didn't he? Didn't Tyson still get hit with 17 years? Although they did that whole fucking sob story shit, and he still got 17 years, I think, right? Tyson at Westminster, and no fixed address was sent to 70 years. So he still got 17. So that whole sob story defense didn't work, to be honest. Representing Mustafa, Mr. Jeremy Rosenberg said the 31-year-old was a working man who had been married with 2 children, with the eldest being diagnosed with nonverbal autism. He told the court Abdullah had a unique and special bond with his son and was his primary carer. He added Abdullah was the one who was able to calm him down which is sometimes difficult due to his child learning difficulties. His younger child was born while he was in remand, and as such has never met. Mr. Rosenberg added it's the children who will suffer the most. Mitigating for Brig Whitson, Mr. Andrew Freeman said the 29-year-old was a father of 2, blah, 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 blah. He argued the 28-year-old previously vulnerable for gangs. He added the age is significant factor. She added the defendant was also sectioned under the Mental Health Act following his mother's death. He then sought closeness with the crew. The gang thought that they were acting above the law and obtained lethal weapons and planned to use the attacks. Officers were also able to pick their plan apart through months of tireless investigation. By the way, allegedly they wiretapped the entire block in it. Or the entire area, I think, if I'm not mistaken. That's how they got them. They had wiretapped the entire block that HRB are from. So that's how they ever listened to every fucking conversation that they had. So even if these guys met in person, they probably would have found a way to fucking listen in. They had them banged to rights, unfortunately. The police had HRB banged to rights. The 8 men have now been taken off streets in a testament to how the officers are taking the fight to organized crime. We cannot do this alone. If you let's not promote snitching, please. Let's not let the police do their job. Let's not do all that shit about Crime Stoppers. We're not doing all that. But yeah, HRB are off the roads, it seems like. HRB are off the roads. And for some reason, Fredo decided to pop his head out the woodwork and basically announce that he is outside as well. And he isn't hiding, he isn't running away, which is odd because he's been calling cap on the idea that he's going to get any time in prison and he's going to get charged in this thing, but he's an integral member of HRB. He might be seen as a leader, you would assume, right? Again, that's, kind of obvious. So I'm surprised that he's so pressed about proving the internet wrong and trying to clarify things when it's obvious why people are coming to the conclusion that he might be in trouble also. He just needs to focus on his case. Keep your head down. You don't need to correct the court of public opinion. What he needs to correct is what people are going to think in fucking court in general. You know what I mean? That's what he needs to fucking be worried about. Not what people are saying in comments and stuff in YouTube videos. But maybe it's been too much to bear hearing all these people say all this shit about him. So he's just kind of, he's kind of finally had enough of it. I'm not too sure, but he has finally stepped up and basically said he's outside. He's not hiding. With this video, big up the music connoisseur on Twitter who shared this video that Fredo shared. I think it's Instagram stories. He's in Dubai. Fredo's out in Dubai, living well, living very, very well by the looks of it, by the way. Doesn't look like he's hiding to me. It's a little montage of him being shown some jewelry, Richard Mille. It looks like, he's got his own personal jeweler coming to show him some pieces that he's been kind of looking at to buy. Maybe got them commissioned and shit. He's looking very healthy. He's looking very tanned. He's looking, looking the way you kind of expect Fredo to look. But before, when you saw him in Thailand and other places, he's looking a little bit rough around the edges. But it looks like he's been living well, doing well. And all those rumors about his bank accounts being frozen maybe were a little bit premature.
Yo, they say I'm flooded like a tap. They say I'm on the run and I ain't even commenting on that. But if I'm running, I'm still running up in racks. In this game full of lies, I'm the one who does the facts. I give her 10 racks, that's when I fill a luggage up with packs. Always plan to be the boss, so I didn't cover up my tax. But what I'm spitting in the booth, cause how I'm living is the proof. They say that my account's froze, but I just spent $500,000 with Hoosh like shh.
So I guess he's not running away. He's got some new pieces from this jeweler called HRB, a new ring, a couple new rings, a pinky ring, a nice diamond ring, a HRB chain, a Richard Mille watch and shit. So he's outside. He's back outside. Fredo is back outside. There's also a caption that goes with it too, if I'm not mistaken. There's a little post here that he made. It says, "Now that's over, it's time to respond the only way I know how." And then he also posted a little, slideshow, a little photo dump of himself in Dubai, I guess. Looking like he's not running away. So, wearing some Louis Vuitton bags and stuff, diamonds with some girl, carrying some clothes and shit, I guess. Watching some event out there in Dubai, also having a good time, So maybe he's not on the run as we guessed, as we assumed. Loads of cash in his hand there, by the way. Are those dollars? Are those pounds? I don't know what's going on there. said that he's a bank account that's frozen. Is it wise to be showing all this stuff on road, by the way? On the gram when you're on the run? Maybe not, but it adds to the legend, isn't it? Even if he does end up in prison, you know, this will all add to the legend, this will all add to the story, so it doesn't really matter really for the sake of it. So he's living well, living large, showing us what went into his chain that he wants to get commissioned and done as well for him. And other pictures, I guess, from maybe his time out traveling when he was quote unquote on the run and shit. So yeah, cool to see. Cool to see, cool to see. Let's see how it plays out. I personally think it's a bit of a misstep. I personally think he probably got baited out of this because of the people speaking too much on the internet. Maybe that big case with HRB happening as well. Because it seems obvious that he will get in trouble for that as well. You hope he doesn't, because, you know, I like him as an artist, but it's unlikely that he's going to get away with that. I don't know. It's unlikely that he's going to get rid of that scot-free. But let's see what happens. Let's see how it transpires. Let's see what happens. Let's see how this whole shit transpires. Big up Fredo. Big up Blood Clot Fredo. You love to see it. You fucking love to see it. Let me go on to one more thing here before we have to bounce. We need to talk about this. Where is it here? I had it here somewhere. Where is it? Where are you? Are you here? No, you're not. Are you there? No, you're not. Are you here? There we go. Big up Blood Clot SPFDJ. Big up SPFDJ. I feel like I haven't seen her on my timeline in a while. Not too sure why. I feel like there was a time where I couldn't not see SPFDJ on my time. I feel like there was a time on my timeline when it came to DJs, I'd keep seeing SPFDJ and VTSS all over my fucking timeline. Not too sure if they're even still friends anymore, or if I'm misremembering, or were never friends before, or they played together too much. But I feel like I always kept seeing, maybe it was around COVID times, I kept seeing SPFDJ and VTSS on my fucking timeline and shit. Now I don't really see them too much. I know VTSS is doing more like, you know, artist stuff and singing and shit. You know, not the best singer in the world, but her songs have got some bops to it as well. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Nina Kravitz doing her little thing there. But SPFDJ was all over the place when I was, you know, browsing DJ content during COVID lockdown times, but not so much now. So somebody sent me this video. Big up Ali. Big up Blood Clot Ali for sending me this. Someone sent me this clip of SPFDJ ranting and moaning about the scene while in the bath, I'm guessing naked, talking about the scene and whatnot and her position in it and whatever she thinks about it going forward. And it just got me thinking, like, why going for SPFDJ? Is she all right? Is she going through something? Is this just her kind of sharing her opinion on the scene that we all do out online, or is she kind of struggling with something? Like, what's going on? Because it looks unhinged. It sounds unhinged, but maybe it isn't as unhinged as I'm thinking it. Maybe she's just sharing her opinion on scene, giving her 2 cents, especially as somebody that's actually a professional DJ. It's probably nice to kind of hear, or interesting and refreshing to hear his perspective from someone like this, who's actually, you know, on the front lines playing all these places. But let's hear SPFDJ's opinion on the scene and what's going on, because I think this video, from the brief bits I've watched of it, was kind of all over the place, but, you know, some interesting parts to kind of dissect and talk about. The caption says, "Didn't mean to start a bathroom series, but 2." So there was another bathroom series she did. This is another one. Let's play.
Pandemic, you're either a TikTok clown or a credibility zombie. I don't usually do this selfie monologue kind of thing, especially not in a bathtub, but fuck it. When inspiration strikes. So I came up in the scene pushing the extremes, high energy sets.
Let's relax, babe. You're just DJing. There is no pushing of the extreme. You're just a fucking DJ. You're pressing Q and play on a fucking CDJ. It's not that deep. Pushing the extremes, you know? Like, pushing the extremes is fucking doing a handstand push-up on the fucking decks as you're playing. Pushing the extremes is doing backflips mid-blend. Pushing the extreme will be fucking paragliding into your fucking DJ booth. No IDF, right? Paragliding into your no Hamas. Paragliding into your fucking DJ booth to DJ. That would be pushing the extremes. DJing blindfold at fucking Berghain. DJing blindfold at fucking Glastonbury, right? These big events, Coachella and shit. That's fucking high energy, high pressure shit. But just playing generally, let's relax. Let's relax.
There are no rules, multi-genre infusions.
Multi-genre, no, like, I think that term multi-genre is so fucking ridiculous. The fact that you have to have the, because it's a thing, right? Like, you have to kind of specify or specialize in a particular thing. You have to be like, this is my genre. But I find it ridiculous. Like, surely DJing you shouldn't be DJing based on genres. You're DJing based on like feeling, atmosphere, vibe, whatever. Just what takes you, just what what inspires you in the moment. But it shouldn't be rigid. It shouldn't be, oh, today I'm playing a techno set. So what? So if you decide halfway through your set to kind of mix things up, to kind of give the dancer a bit of a break and play some jazz, play some gospel, play some fucking drum and bass, whatever, jungle, you can't play that. Come on, man. Some nonsense, man.
And that was my rebellion. I wanted to do things differently. But then when high BPMs and cheeky edits became the norm, I didn't know where to go.
Wasn't she a part of that though? I don't know why. I get the feeling that her and VTSS, maybe it's just me projecting, maybe it's me misremembering my history and my lore, but I get the feeling that her, VTSS, for lack of a better example, LSDXO, there's a bunch of these type of people that were doing that high energy, high BPM. Who else? Who's my girl? What's her fucking name? I forgot her fucking name, at the top of my head now. Maybe even Nene H is a good example. Big up her too. There's a bunch of these people who popped up during COVID lockdown, who were kind of pushing that high octane, high energy, high BPM shit. That was obviously going to be a flash in the pan shit because it just objectively sounded terrible, in my personal opinion. Everybody looks fucking garbage. Like, I've seen pictures of people that made in Voyage Festival, and I cannot wait until that fucking, I don't know, wherever that fucking style of dressing is over and done with. I cannot wait because everyone looks fucking insane, right? Look like they've been fucking pushed through a fucking lawnmower and spat back out again. And everything's over dyed, fucking metallics, double sorts. Like, I'm just bored of that fucking quasi Y2K look in general. But that sound was always going to be a flash in the pan. But I felt like these, at least SPF and stuff, they were the forebearers in that sort of shit. So I find it interesting that she's sort of criticizing that sound when it was, I feel like, something that I kind of associated with her to begin with. But I could be wrong.
What used to feel dangerous started to feel expected.
Brother, dangerous is visiting fucking Brixton. Back in the day when I was in secondary school and you lived in East London, you had to go on a fucking school trip and they took you to Brixton on the fucking train and you popped out of the station and had to walk through the fucking little shopping centre thing wearing your fucking school uniform and all the other kids, and you happened to go there during lunchtime, so all the other schools were out on lunch break too, and they knew you weren't from the ends, and you had your, back in our day where I went to Royal Docks and we had our fucking bright green jumper with a white polo top on, with a fucking massive yellow badge on the side here as well. That's fucking pressure. That's fucking pressure, right? Going to like warring ends, or even coming to places like Stratford and shit if you're from Canning Town, that was fucking pressure. But come on, man, DJing is not pressure, man. Let's relax, man. It should be. It's probably one of the best, funnest jobs in the world. It should be fun. If you're feeling like it's the most pressured thing you've ever done, you probably need some perspective. You probably need some real world life experiences. You probably need to touch some grass. You probably need to help out in a soup kitchen or two. You probably need to ground yourself in reality. If anything, you probably need to go online on LinkedIn and check out other people that your age, maybe living in a place that you're living in, and see what they're doing day to day. And that will kind of maybe ground you and make you understand that, hey, you know what? My life ain't that bad. Maybe the pressure in sending invoices and waiting for the payments and stuff, but when they come through, we're talking multiple thousands. Let's fucking relax. Some people will never get paid what you get paid as a DJ, and they're working, a fucking dead end job somewhere, and they're making it work, and they don't feel as much pressure as you do. Like, let's fucking simmer down a little bit here.
And then half the scene turned their noses up at anything that wasn't real techno. So I found myself stuck. Am I okay? My nipples aren't showing, right?
Come on, bro. Come on, man. We don't care if your nipples are showing. Make your fucking point, bro. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, I found myself
Whose
stuck,
girl is this, bro? Whose girl is
straddling a
this?
fence between the techno purists and the TikTok maximalism. And I felt like I had to pick a side.
TikTok macklers. What? Huh? Techno purist. Brother, play what you like. Play what you enjoy. Play what gives you that feeling, that goosebumps, that fucking, you know, that makes you have that feeling when you first went out and shit. Play what you like. Play what you enjoy. Share your inspiration. Share your feelings. Share your fucking history, your fucking origin story with the fucking audience via fucking tunes, which can sometimes be fun too. Like imagine being pulled in either directions by social media platforms and hashtags and shit. Imagine letting those things kind of dictate what you play. Could never be me.
But neither of the sides felt like me. So eventually, I stopped pretending.
You know what's funny? Like, big up Nina Kravitz, man. She's a fucking trendsetter. Eventually, all DJs get to this situation in it. Nina Kravitz had to jump in the fucking bathtub to get the fucking, you know, to remind people, Wagwan, I am hot and shit, remind you who I am, book me. Eventually, everyone gets to this position. Eventually, all DJs end up naked in the bathtub at some point in it. I wonder if it's just a consequence of just being too easy. I wonder if life you need a bit of struggle. Maybe that's why you should maybe start a label, start your own party series, maybe start your own fucking natural wine company, maybe start selling sandwiches and shit, or doing fucking online yoga classes. Maybe you need a bit of struggle. Maybe being a professional DJ and that being your only thing, and it being one of the best jobs and easiest jobs in the world, and you get compensated in a way that probably doesn't match what you do, right? Let's be honest. No, you know, there's no reason why DJs should be paid 100 grand for a 2-hour set. There's nothing you're doing that's worth that money. And I wonder if that kind of imposter syndrome / guilt that you're making that sort of stuff is what that money is what leads to these sort of like epiphanies that you're having in a bathtub where you're like kind of questioning your life. Or maybe she's just having a midlife crisis because she could be a bit older than what she looks. Because she looks a lot younger than, I don't know, she looks kind of young, but she might, you know, who knows? She could be, if you told me she was 45, I'd believe you. If you told me she was 27, I would believe you, you know? I have no idea. But I wonder if that's what's going on. If it's just like a midlife crisis, that could be a thing.
To fit into either of them. Because why are there even sides? And I stopped trying to out-extreme the extremes.
You know what we need to do though? You know what I would say, just as a observer and a practitioner of DJing myself? I think it's important for you as an artist or creative not to indulge in or to take part in or to even acknowledge the sides and shit. I think you should leave that to the consumers and the customers, the ravers, people on the dance floor. I think you as the artist should just be making what you like. Leave it to the press, leave it to RA, leave it to Mixmag, leave it to fucking what's that guy? What's my guy who I like? First Floor and shit. Leave it to these people to categorize and pigeonhole and try to intellectualize and whatever you're doing. Allow the hashtag, allow the TikTok people to say what they want to say about what you're doing. But you as an artist, you shouldn't feed into it. You should never feed into it. That's what I personally think. Make what you enjoy, make what you like, and then let the people do as they can or as they want with it. Obviously, when you're playing it, you can control what you're doing, but whatever they want to, however they want to interpret it, however they want to fucking be inspired by it, they can. But you shouldn't buy into this whole conversation, this debate, back and forth, tit for tat. It's fucking lame.
Because where does that even lead? And now, I just play what makes me dance. And it's a multi-genre cocktail.
Imagine this being your epiphany. Imagine having the epiphany as a professional DJ, who she's probably been a professional DJ for like 10 plus years. Finally coming around to the idea of like, now I just play what I like. Like what? Shouldn't that have been always the case? That's one of the benefits of being a pro at her level, is that you get to play what you like. Being somebody at my level, you don't. You have to kind of earn the right to play what you like. You have to kind of play what the crowd likes, what the club likes, what the clientele likes, what the booking person likes, whatever venue manager likes. And then over time, as you get, you know, get some more clout, get some more fame, get some more accolades, get some more notoriety, success, whatever, you get the opportunity to start playing what you want. That's when it starts to get really fun, because you can take people on a journey. You can kind of show people what you're into and shit, what you've been inspired by, blah blah blah. Take some chances. Like being in her position and not playing what you want and being beholden by the algorithm is really fucking sad. I'm not gonna lie.
Of fun, definitely not chin strokey bullshit. You can call it whatever the fuck you want. You don't need to like it. It doesn't have to make sense to everyone, because it finally makes sense to me.
I wonder if at the heart of all of this is just her realizing that a lot of DJs are lapping her. I wonder if that's what the heart of it, because it's a really strange. It's like this doesn't need to be shared with anybody, really. No, this epiphany, this kind of revelation. Like I don't know. Like I think most people out there are probably just, especially in a sea of everybody chasing virality and chasing trends and chasing the algorithm. Most sensible people, most wise people, most forward-thinking people are probably doubling down on what they do best. That's what you should be doing. When everyone's doing one thing, you should probably consider and go the opposite way, or double down on what you are about. That's what you should be doing. So having these epiphanies and stuff, you know, what do you want, a pat on the back or something? It's a bit strange. But I wonder if this is just her kind of coming to grips with, or coming to terms with, people, other ladies especially, maybe lapping her, who have not been in the scene as long as her, and maybe noticing a dwindling in her fucking bookings and shit. Let me actually check. I'm curious to see, have her bookings dropped or something? Is that why she's kind of complaining about, or like saying what she's saying regarding this, or is she just having a bit of a moan? I'm not too sure. Let's check out. Let's see. Let's go SPFDJ. Let's do RA. Let's see. Are her bookings dropping? Is she okay? Because this seems like a strange thing to talk about. Let's see. Okay, look at it. She's booked and busy. Glitch. She's playing this Wednesday, or she's playing today, right? In Glitch in Malta. Tomorrow she goes from Malta to, what's that, Spain, right? She's playing in Los Angeles next weekend, Austin, Texas next weekend, Miami end of the month, New York City end of the month. The Greece gig got cancelled, but then she's playing in Paris, Belgium, coming to London in September, Glasgow. So very, very healthy list of fucking gigs, all the way up to, she's booked and busy all the way up to November, essentially, right? Festival after festival after festival after festival. So I wonder if just, you know, as a DJ, you just get greedy and you want all your dates to be booked back, you know, back to back, or if this is just her honestly realizing that, you know, maybe life ain't as bad as she thought it was. I don't know. It's a strange situation to be in all over. Strange one. Let me go back to the clip. Where is it? Where is she at? Where is she at? Where is she at? Is it there? Nope, is it not there? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Nope, it's not this one. That one. Where is she? Where is she? This one? No, that one. There you go.
That must feel good, right?
She gave us the duck lips. I'm still good, right? SPFDJ, what are you doing, girl? You're better than this, man. You're better than this, girl. What are you doing, man? What are you doing? I'm still good, right? She gave us a little duck lip. She gave us a little fucking the little bimbo lips, right? She gave us a little bonk on it. Big up Anna Cashin and Dasher from Red Scare. They've got a good description of why like guys like Sydney Sweeney and shit, right? Because I think they describe her as having that look of a girl that's been bonked on the head, like slightly redacted, like, you know, like guys like that kind of thing, because you're like, you know, there's not much going on there, you know, you're essentially just a sexual object in that respect. You don't really talk back that much, but yeah, that's amazing. The little, can you see my big fat tits? Sorry, are my juicy pink nipples peeking through right now? Oh, what a fucking legend. Big up SPFDJ.
After the pandemic, you were either a TikTok.
Okay, cool. So she said what she said. I don't know, man. I think she's probably going through a little midlife crisis, quarter life crisis, whatever she's going through. I think there's probably just a realization that, you know, people are in and amongst her have probably lapped her, and she's probably coming to terms with it. And the way she's coping with it is by saying that now I'm a true DJ. I play what I like. I'm not involved in the algorithm. But it's like, bro, don't hate the player. hate the game. It is what it is. I think if anything, there's a room for everybody nowadays. I don't think we used to live in a time where the TikTok person would take up all the space and they'd be on all the fucking lineups. But I feel like those people who smash it on TikTok, who smash it on social media, the guy I can think of is that guy. What's his name? Is it like 666? 666 something, whatever. I think those type of people, they play at certain raves, right? Like even somebody I was talking to actually about what's his fucking name? Party Boy 69, all those type of people. Those type of people that you describe as TikTok techno DJs, they don't take up space for people like SPFDJs because they're not getting booked in the same venues or the same place or same festivals. They play in other places and other situations, other lineups. So there's room for everybody. Literally everybody gets to eat. Nobody's taking from everybody else. So you don't really need to worry about what they're doing anyway. Just focus on what you're doing. And give the fans what they want to hear. Play what you like. Play what you enjoy. Especially when she's at her level, you get the chance to do so. Why wouldn't you take the opportunity? And I really do hope that this realization is going to lead to like some creative ideas and stuff going forward with her own stuff that she's going to do. But I just think this is kind of seems like a bit of a cope. It kind of comes across like she's having a bit of a mental breakdown. Which again, is completely understandable given the job that she has and all the success that's come to her early on. Maybe now questioning what the next step is. What am I going to be doing forever? Am I just going to be standing behind this booth, pressing Q and play every time? Or is there more out there for me? Who fucking knows? But big up SPFDJ same way. Big up SPFDJ same way. What are people in the comments saying? What are the comments saying? Patrick Mason says, love this for you. All the bullshit fades away once you know you're tuned into yourself. Funny coming from him, to be honest, but hey, big up Patrick Mason. Big up Bedroom Fantasies. Who's this person? Says, thank you for sharing this. It's been a weird journey musically and I feel stuck, mainly frustrated because everyone is trying so hard to fit into these boxes and I was afraid I would go towards it. But you're 100% right about playing whatever you honestly, maybe I just have supreme confidence in myself as a person. I never have these feelings of frustration when it comes to DJing and shit or making, it's just not that deep. You just play what you enjoy, play what you like. Obviously, you might, if you want to kind of jump on the viral virus or jump on the viral wave, you might pop in a little fucking pop edit from here and there from time to time to mix things up again and to kind of get people's attention, to kind of get the clicks going, right? But it's not really about that, really. You just play what you enjoy, play what you like, especially nowadays where everyone's kind of going in one direction. Like if everyone's going 150 BPM plus, you should probably double down on 120 BPM and under, just to kind of mix it up so you kind of stand out more. But it should be obviously based on what you're into. Like, it's not that deep, really. I'm confused why people are so petrified by this sort of shit. It's just DJing, man. It's not that deep. It's just fucking DJing. Most of it, you're DJing other people's music anyway. It's not like you're DJing your own music and you're getting judged for that, which would be doubly fucking hurtful. You're playing other people's music. It's not that deep, man. Just take a deep breath. Fucking hell. Boys Noise, story of my life. I don't like the cheesy stuff, but I like to be silly sometimes. I love real techno, house or whatever, classic sound, but why being elite about it? I get the purist, but never try to please anyone but yourself in the moments. I guess a good DJ can balance it. Most importantly, you have to feel inspired. DJing, feel inspired, just play the music, bro. Honestly, some of these motherfuckers, man, so pampered. Feel inspired, bro. Just play the music. This is your job. Like, play the music, turn up on time, play the set, put on a good show, and go home about feel inspired, bro. Clock in and clock out. And fuck Boys Noise, by the way. He's a great producer, but one of those guys that never fucking answers request. When you answer fucking tune IDs or song ID things, he always fucking airs people. So I'm not a fan of him in that regard. But big up Boys Noise same way. DJ Rebecca, play what the fuck you want. Definitely don't take her advice, because what she's playing now, again, love the woman. She says a lot of cool stuff, interesting stuff about the scene and shit. But what DJ Rebecca plays now is fucking horrendous. I'm not sure if she's even, like, I wonder if she's actually into this stuff that she plays, or if she's just like trying to pay her bills. But the stuff I hear DJ Rebecca playing nowadays is just truly atrocious. Let's see if I can see a pinned quote. This is from when? This is from 62 weeks ago, right? Her playing at Boiler Room. What is that? What is that?
Say what again?
By the way, big up the tight tops, by the way. Big up the tight tops with no bra. We love to see it, right? Tits bouncing up and down. Great engagement bait. But this is fucking horrendous. Say what again? Hey. Let's go on another pin quote. Another pin quote.
I'm not your devil anymore.
Like, do you think she enjoys playing this sort of stuff? Do you think she actually likes playing? Like, she used to be a proper good DJ before and producer, but this stuff is horrible. This is music from Mundeles, bro. This is pure Caucasian music. Like, you can't get down with this, man. There's no rhythm, no fucking. There's nothing to this, but you can't dance to this sort of shit. You have to do the same fucking neo-Nazi fucking techno fucking bop as well. I ain't for that. No way. Can you imagine going to a festival, listening to this shit the whole day, the whole weekend, going to a festival playing this sort of shit? Anyway, DJ Rebecca fucking sucks nowadays, so I wouldn't necessarily take her advice on anything, but big up her. Play what the fuck you want, produce what you want, be authentic. Honestly, it's not that serious. The people that are energetical match to your style. Energetical, is that even the word? However, it changes throughout your journey. It will always be drawn to you. Okay, cool. But again, never listen to a set she's playing. Darky says, what? I found my freedom when I stopped trying to fit myself into a certain boxes. I love how honestly, man, first world problems, isn't it? I fit into too many boxes. They're trying to put me into the hot girl box. Oh, too many bookings being a hot girl. I need to fit into my own box. Like, brother, just play your set, man, and go home. I accepted that I'm not underground anymore. I'm not underground enough for techno purists. Duh. Like, why is that even a thing? Just, anyway, not commercial enough for the mainstream scene. Why would you want to be? Just want to be myself and play what I love with zero expectations. I so absolutely feel you. Thank you so much for, honestly, man. This is just like garbage, yo. Maron, even my guy Maron's on here. What's he saying? Playing what you like playing what makes you dance is exactly what makes you love what you do forever. Exactly. That's how it always should be, though. Why are these motherfuckers making it more complicated than what it should be? Another person, who's this? OT says, as I also said before, we are just having fun. Why would you say this, bad? As I also said, you were saying before. Is that you're trying to tell us that you speak to this person like privately? We don't give a fuck. As I also said before, like, brother, we don't know you. Why are you telling us this? But anyway, I guess, hey, stop putting everyone in boxes and brand them with style. It's a party, relax. Great anyway. Another person says, bring back the true techno. I don't know what does that mean, true techno? Does that mean just more white people on the dance floor? The one Berlin, Detroit and shit, and the modern touch, the techno nowadays that is more hard techno stuff, it's gonna die at any moment. No, it isn't. Like, it's bigger than ever, mate. Just let them do what they're doing. You do what you do. It's gonna die at any moment, but underground scene is still here. It's better and healthy. Yeah, I guess. What another person says here, Kittia forever. Industry interactions keep asking. So let's go back here. Industry interactions keep asking, how would you describe your sound? My answer is more and more I wouldn't. Because why? I know every day it will be a different thing. I feel different towards music depending on the setting, context, emotion, even weather. It keeps okay. Watch out for fucking Storm over here. It keeps changing, thank God, as I keep getting inspired, bless, and any description of it would not only fail but restrain it and create expectations that can only set people and myself up for disappointment. I see your place as DJs as people with a special connection. Oh, fuck off. Special connection and listening capability to what's out there. Like, what? Shut up, mate. Special connection. She doesn't have special powers, man. Like, there aren't. They're not fucking mutants. Like, allow it. Special connection and listening capability to what's out there. I feel a duty to explore that in an honest, genuine, unimprintable way. That's the journey. Bro, you are fucking bugged out, man. Like, big up Kitcha forever, but you are bugged out. Needed to hear that's next level glaze. That's not even glazing, man. That's fucking double glazing. That's not glazing, that's fucking double glazing. Needed to hear this. Feels confusing when you haven't made it yet. As my mind says to Feels confusing when you haven't made it yet, as my mind says to do what people likes, as that will take me higher up there. But that feels I'm betraying myself. What I should really focus on is whatever makes me happy. It makes me have fun. Thanks for sharing. Brother, what you should be focusing on is this. And who am I to tell people advice? It's a fun hobby. Think of DJing as like a fun hobby, like playing golf. Nobody that plays golf recreationally thinks they're going to, you know, suddenly be in the fucking PGA, whatever tournament that is, right? They don't think they're going to be suddenly playing alongside fucking Tiger Woods. But they play it because it's a really fun hobby. And I think somebody mentioned the other day, I saw a clip of LeBron James, you know, playing golf and getting really into it now. And people said, oh, someone said in the comments, oh, why are all these older, why do most men kind of get into golf? What's up with this? And somebody basically said in the comments that it's one of the rare sports that you can do in your into your old age that still requires a lot of like precision and technique, but isn't necessarily physically taxing as other sports. But it still requires a lot of like, you know, whatever work and stuff, so it can kind of push you in that regard. So if you kind of need that scratch to be itched still, golf is a good thing. Instead of, you know, you can't maybe play football into your old age because, you know, you don't maybe have the cardiovascular or the fucking athletic ability to do so. But in general, people generally play golf just as a hobby, as a really fun hobby that they can kind of, you know, indulge themselves in and kind of, you know, get transported away in and kind of focus on something else. I think people should treat DJing the same way. They should treat it as a really fun hobby that sometimes allows you to play in certain places, that sometimes allows you to travel the world and shit. But by and by, everybody thinking they're going to make it, you're not going to make it because there's only a finite amount of spaces out there for people to make it in the first place. But if you approach it as just a really fun hobby, you end up having way more fun with it, taking way more chances with it, approaching it from a really open space, not being fucking limited in what you want to play, not chasing the algorithm or chasing likes or virality and shit. That's how people should approach it. It's unlikely because everyone's chasing that same dream of playing in Burger and playing all these big places. But if you just treat it like a really fun hobby, you'll probably play way better. You'll probably have more fun. And weirdly enough, it'll probably help you get further in your career. But hey, what do I know? And DJ Rebecca comes back again with more unsolicited advice. And we're really an exciting moment for dance music where so much is exciting, so much is executing all at once. With 30 plus years of history as well, the quality of productions has increased. Not sure about that one. Name me the last big hit to come out of any scene in the last kind of fucking 5-10 years. I don't think the quality of productions increased that much, mate. The hit records aren't what they used to be. All Hard House you were pulling out pre-COVID is now being revamped and reproduced really well. Celebrate it and share your passion. I don't think that's true. Another person says, yeah, I always get inspired in the bathtub and forget what I wanted to say. You go, girl. Yeah, and turn on your camera and keep mentioning that you might have slipped a nipple or two. Sure. Had this inner battle for a couple of years as well. Came to the same conclusion. You word it perfectly. Oh, yeah. Fucking hell, the glazing. Okay. Anyway, whatever. Big up SPFDJ, I guess, for being vulnerable enough to share that sort of shit. But come on, man. Fix up, get it together. Ain't that deep. Fix up, get it together. It really isn't that deep. But again, what do I know? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nada. Anyways, thank you for tuning in. It's been the Edison Chen Show episode number 927. It's been episode number 927. For those of you tuning in live, I appreciate every single one of you. For those of you tuning in after the fact, thank you for tuning in. It's been a pleasure to have your company. For those of you listening via the audio podcast, you shall hear my tune of the day playing underneath my voice. My tune of the day will be from none other than Kehlani. Kehlani dropped a single a couple of months ago called Folded that I've been playing on loop for a while, that I thought that you guys would enjoy as a nice little outro to kind of smooth out all that shitty hard dance techno shit that we just heard previously, and to kind of hopefully soothe you into the rest of the evening. So Kehlani is my song of the day. Thank you for tuning to Edison Chen Show episode number 927. If it's your first time tuning into a show via the podcast app, make sure you leave me a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple. That would be greatly appreciated. If you're watching this via YouTube, leave me a good little like down below. Subscribe to the channel, become a member, all that good shit. And in the description, you'll find a link to more stuff regarding me on my link tree. For those of you listening to the random show stuff, we'll be back again later on tonight for day 2 of the random show. But for now, take care. The Edison Chen Show episode number 927. We're out. Peace.